In the small room, Zhang Ziyo sat alone with a dim light coming from the phone screen, sitting quietly on the neat table, where there was a small cake. He started cutting the cake. The cake was beautifully decorated with many colorful fruits. The sound of the happy birthday song was also playing. Zhang Ziyo ate a piece of cake, clenched his lips, seemed to be annoyed and sighed. It was really hard to eat. Then he threw the cake into the trash can resolutely, his face showing clear signs of frustration. I spent 29 yuan on this bad cake. What a waste of money. Zhang Ziyo scrolled through his phone, went into his social media. He had just posted a photo with the cake and wrote that he thanked his friend for giving it to him. His eyes were heavy with sadness. The light highlighted the loneliness that was tormenting his heart. He raised his hand to gently touch his face, trying to suppress his emotions. I just hope that someone will care about me a little. Zhang Ziyo leaned back, leaning on the chair, his eyes slightly drooping, showing his fatigue, his thoughts filled with sad confidences. When he was sick, he could ask each other a question. He leaned over and fell down, his hands trying to reach out as if he wanted to cling to something, this simple wish, but God didn't want to help him make it come true. After a while, the sky seemed to darken. A voice rang out. What kind of sound was that? A person's feet were running continuously because he was being chased. Help! The other person discovered. Something was chasing him. A beast opened its giant mouth and pointed forward. Damn! What the hell is this? Zhang Zu's hair was tied up high. The soft light reflected on her hair, creating a hazy feeling. The red lightning flashed in the darkness like a fierce force. The monster with sharp teeth was roaring, rushing straight forward, chasing Zhang Ziyo, who was screaming in fear. Zeperiod with a twisted body, tense muscles and sharp claws, flashing in the firelight as it reached out. In the midst of the fiery whirlwind, a monster hand with long, sharp claws tore out. Red sweat covered his face, revealing tension and confusion. Is this me? Have I crossed over? Zhang Zu's plump body appeared. She seemed to be running quickly towards him. Zhang Ziyo was startled when he heard someone approaching from behind. Zhang Zu shouted loudly with sharp eyes, looking at him tensely, her expression mixed with anger and worry. River, little skin. She swung her hand and gave Zhang Ziyo a huge blow, her face showing anger, daring to run around in a different space. He was thrown far away in the middle of the white snow-covered space. Zhang Zu's tone was extremely angry. Are you tired of living, kid? Zhang Ziyo sat in the middle of the white snow, his hands holding his head, his body slightly curled up. My name is Zhang Ziyo. His eyes were cold, shining with determination. His expression was highly concentrated, but somewhat confused, just like the old plots. I have crossed over. In the middle of the vast white snow space, electric blue lights flashed. This world is called the Star Marshal Continent. The biggest difference from the normal world is that there is a gate here that leads to another dimension. Behind the gate of space is another space with many illusory creatures, strange lights, and along with the appearance of the space gate, a divine power called spirit energy also appeared. A very few lucky people were able to sense the spirit energy and become spirit awakeners. Through the number of stars on the star chart, it could be used to determine the talent limit of an awakener. The more stars, the higher the talent limit. As for the owner of this body, it was called Zhang Ziyo. Zhang Ziyo raised his two hands to look. His face was quite cautious. Although he was also an awakener, his aptitude was very low. There were only 9 stars on the star chart. Zhang Zu was both cold and solemn. His voice was low but decisive. Zhang Ziyo. She stood with her arms crossed, her eyes sharp and her tone full of reproach, clearly showing her frustration and worry. How long do you plan to sit on the snow? He raised his head and stammered. Han Zhang, the person who slapped me into this world, is the original owner's half-sister, a person with 30 stars. Saying that she is a genius is not too much. Jiang Zhu bent down to help him up. Her attitude was both reproachful and worried. Her reminder was simple but warm, containing concern. The snow on the ground was cold. A girl walked over. The cold wind blew through, making her long hair flutter. Finally found the two of them. Zia Yan raised her hand to greet. her face bright but mixed with worry. Zuzu, are you and Zio Pai okay? She hugged Zhu tightly, beaming with joy, her voice filled with questions. Zio thought to himself, based on his memory, this person was Han Zhu's best friend. His name was Zia Yan, also a naturally gifted person, with 28 stars. Zia Yan tilted her head to look over, her eyes somewhat serious as she affectionately called him Zio Pai Pai. The atmosphere became scary. She smiled gently at Zio, but her voice was full of reproach. Do you know how dangerous it is to run around in another dimension? If you're not careful, you'll die. He was scared, his voice trembling as he replied, I'm sorry. Zia Yan rubbed his head, pressing it lightly as a warning but not lacking in concern. Knowing your mistakes is good. You don't know, seeing you after running around, how worried Zuzu was. I've never seen her so worried, so don't be like that in the future. Zio lowered his head slightly. His eyes were embarrassed but sincere. I know. I won't run around randomly anymore. He looked towards the two girls, his face showing obvious tension. Han Zhu was because the original owner after awakening, day by day there was no progress. She became arrogant and conceited. That's why she sent the original owner to another dimension to train before starting school. As a result, while killing monsters, she didn't pay attention to one, causing the original owner to be scared and run around. Fortunately, Han Zhu arrived in time. Otherwise, the original owner would have been eaten by those two monsters. Suddenly, he realized something and stopped. Something went wrong. Wait. Zio remembered. The cold snow just now only destroyed one right. Snowperiod rushed over, its golden eyes shining fiercely, and its sharp teeth gaping dangerously. He was extremely panicked, his eyes opened wide, his whole body trembling as he screamed, damn it. Zio panicked, his pupils constricted, cold sweat ran down his cheeks, his voice rang out, be careful. Zhu pulled him out of the monster's attack range, her eyes sharp, focused without the slightest hesitation. Zio glanced over, his face red with embarrassment, both panicked and extremely confused. His hand was emitting a powerful stream of energy, a brilliant blue light winding around his fingers. Superiod with a pair of golden eyes filled with murderous intent roared, her entire body covered in a swirling blue electric energy as she charged towards him. Her eyes were shining with coldness, filled with fear, and she immediately called out, Zia Yan, as if asking for help. Zia Yan smiled faintly, the corners of her lips curved slightly as she replied, understood. The monster roared fiercely, its entire body covered in a swirling energy. She stood tall, holding a spear that was burning brightly behind her. Zia Yan slashed down in a long slash, a blazing energy flashing, you bastard. She swooped down from above with a determined and powerful expression, attacking Zeperiod. Look at this move. But it easily blocked it with its claws, its eyes shining with fear, baring its teeth with sharp teeth. Zia Yan was thrown away, a bright source of energy like fire was emitted. She slid backwards, stabbing her spear down to steady herself. Zia Yan raised her head to look, revealing a smile with eyes showing excitement but also a bit of confusion. Thick skin, not bad level, huh? She looked towards the monster that was baring its teeth threateningly and mocked it. But you are just a snowman. Period lost the herd. Ha Engin's eyes lit up with power, her hand holding a glowing weapon and raising it forward. How dare she bare her fangs in front of this lady? The spear was raised high, the blade flashing red around it. Ha Engin slashed down right at the neck of the snow unicorn. Blood splattered everywhere. It was slashed deeply, from which a stream of green energy was emitted, and it collapsed to the ground. Zio stood beside Zhu, witnessing the situation just now and feeling surprised. He opened his mouth, eyes wide open, staring, killing a monster with just 2 moves. This is the strength of an awakened person. Zia Yan stroked her hair, smiled slightly, then let out a sigh of relief. She turned back to look at the two of them, her eyes sparkling with satisfaction. She laughed even louder and exclaimed, Zuzu is so good. Our coordination is impeccable. Seeing Zio standing close to Zhu, Zia Yan's face was filled with surprise and anger. She ran over and pushed him away, angrily shouting, "What kind of sisterly thing are you two doing with me? Let go quickly." Then Zia Yan grabbed her hand, leading her like leading a child. "The smell of blood will attract the other white ghosts. Let us quickly collect the pearl and retreat." Zhang Ziao stood still and thought for a moment. Pure pearl is the original owner's memory. The pearl comes from the bodies of creatures in different dimensions and contains the abilities of these creatures. Through absorbing the pearl, the awakened person has the chance to receive the hidden star techniques within. That is also the skill they used in the battle just now. Zia Yan stood over there and shouted towards him, "Come here, the bad student." Hearing this, his face also became somewhat uncomfortable. She sat down beside the monster, seriously instructing, in order to prevent him from failing the basic exam again and making Zuer angry. "Then let me guide him. How to confirm whether these creatures produce pearls or not." Zia Yan took the pearl into her hand, smiling brightly with a rosy face. No matter what size or shape the creature was, the pearls were all in the same place. Zhang Ziao frowned and looked curiously. In her head, she confirmed the answer was right. It wasn't too bad. Zia Yan took the knife in her hand, explaining what she was doing. The skull of the snow beast was very hard, so she needed a sharp tool to take out the pearl. She took the handle of the knife, held it tightly in her hand and pointed it down. She had to find the right angle. As soon as she stabbed down, Zia Yan's face was full of confidence and excitement, then used force to open it. She quickly followed the cut line and drew it out, looking inside the monster's body. Zia Yan's hands quickly searched inside, even explaining where she was touching: the cerebellum, brainstem. She searched for a while and then looked disappointed. This snow beast didn't have pearls, how unlucky. Then Zia Yan handed Zhang Ziao the knife. "Ziao Bai, go, take one and try it out." His face paled and waved his hand, not wanting to do it. But he still had to hold the knife, thinking to himself, "I have lived for 25 years, I have not even killed a fish, and now they are forcing me to directly cut out the brain of another species." Zhang Ziao held onto the monster's body, showing his determination. "But this world is so dangerous, I was almost killed in a dream." He raised the knife high, preparing to stab down. His eyes were cold and determined. If he could not accept this, then even his survival would be a problem. After a while, Zhang Ziao turned to the side and vomited, while Zia Yan crossed her arms and looked seriously. None of these two snow monsters had any pearls. She turned back to look, her expression calm as if she had known it all along, explaining in a gentle tone filled with deep thoughts. "Crystal pearls are extremely rare. If you want to obtain a crystal technique from it, it is even more difficult. There are people, I'm afraid, that even if they work hard their whole life, they still won't be able to obtain a crystal technique." Zia Yan continued, "So, for those who awaken, it's not just about talent, but also depends on luck." He wiped his face, his eyes slightly closed, obediently replying, "I understand." Zhongzhu looked at her younger brother with pity. "It's okay, Ziao Pai." She suddenly realized something. Was she wrong? She clenched her fists, her face somewhat bewildered, her eyes slightly lowered with a hint of sadness. Ziao Pai seemed to suddenly become much more understanding. Could it be the effect of that slap? Zhongzhu stood behind him, her back lonely and disappointed, then called out, "Ziao Pai." She took out a pearl and gave it away. It emitted a magical and brilliant light. "Just now, when we were taking the pearl, you ran away, so we didn't have time to give it to you. This is it. Pure Height Ghost Witch's Pearl. You absorb it." Zhang Ziao exclaimed, "This is pearl, a pearl that sparkled like a star in the vast galaxy." He took it and thought to himself, "One pearl could only be inlaid with one skill, but I only have 9 star charts, which means I can only have 9 star charts in this life." Zhang Ziao's hand touched the pearl. The light inside it became even brighter. He held it tightly and raised his hand high. Many powerful forces emitted from the pearl, covering the surrounding area. Suddenly, Zhang Ziao's body floated. He turned around to look around. Where was this? the system announced. Inside the star chart, current star chart, Big Dipper 9 stars, current strength at level 2 Stardust stage, can be upgraded with skill points. No star charts, basic combat skills. Level 1 quality yellow bronze can be upgraded. Introduces the most basic combat skill. Attack method based on human instinct abundant spirit energy. Level 1 quality yellow bronze can be upgraded. Introduces can increase the speed of condensation and recovery of the host's spirit energy. He wondered, inside the star chart. Zhang Zio's eyes widened in confusion. That is, right now, he was in his own sea of consciousness, and there was also this current star chart. Could it be that he didn't only have one star chart? Suddenly, something appeared that surprised him. The system announced, checking. The information appeared. The white ghost pearl of the yellow copper quality star technique contained one blessing to slowly restore the target's vitality. Can be upgraded. 2 decoy. Create an illusion to confuse the enemy can be upgraded. Do you want to merge and absorb it? Zhang Zio frowned, sweat pouring down his face, a little confused, but still somewhat excited. Good. Inside the star chart, there was also an appraisal function. Even if others received the pearl, they might not be able to absorb a single star technique in their entire life. Yet he was able to directly absorb it, and even fuse and absorb it. He quickly clicked on the word on the notice board. A star chart box obtained 2 star skills. What kind of concept is this? The star pearl gradually cracked. The fragments flew out, signaling that he had completed it. Zhongzhu saw it and turned to ask, how is it? Did you receive any star skills? Zhang Zio seemed to be stuttering. Before he could speak, Zia Yan ran over in a panic. Zhu, something happened. He was a bit confused about what happened. What was it? She immediately reported clearly. There was a hunting group coming towards us. The image of the badge on the other group's shirt appeared. They had already come here. Yan Du went ahead to check the situation and reported, Captain, the heads of these 2 snow unicorns have been cut off. I'm afraid this is the prey of another expedition team. Zilin frowned slightly in wonder. Didn't we just pass by a small group of snow unicorns that were about to be destroyed? Could it be the same team that did it? He let out a sigh and analyzed the situation. He also didn't know if the white ghost witch in that tribe, when killed, created a crystal orb or not. What bad luck! The baby white ghost witch couldn't be found, and as for the white ghost witch as crystal orb, he couldn't find any either. How would he explain to the family head when he returned? Zihan walked over, his eyes filled with determination and coldness. Recharge my spirit. Continue to search for the baby white ghost witch early. As for the white ghost witch's crystal orb. The group of people discussed as they walked, waiting for the next group to meet that group. Then they would rob them back. At this moment, Zhang Zio's group was hiding behind a tree. They were now standing around the snow monster from earlier, checking it out. Then Zihan spoke, let's go. Continue moving forward. Yan Yu replied, yes, Captain. They gradually walked in another direction, leaving behind many footprints on the white snow. Zhang Zio's group breathed a sigh of relief. Everyone had been nervous and tense up until now. He turned back to look at the 2 girls, his entire face filled with wonder. They wanted to rob the white ghost witch's cub and essence. Why was that? Zia Yan raised one hand as if lecturing. Bad student. Do you know how rare the white ghost witch is? She continued to explain. Compared to the white ghost, the number of white ghost witches was extremely small. In a group of white ghosts, there was at most only one white ghost witch. Zia Yan tilted her head, her gaze downwards, her expression pensive. Moreover, inside the white ghost's crystal pearl, there was a healing essence technique. A healing essence technique, and it was the rarest kind. Zhongzhu held out 2 fingers. A white pearl devil price of crystal pearls on the market is around 500 to 800. But if it is the crystal pearl of the white ghost, which it will be over 200,000. Zhang Zio was shocked. It was so expensive. She closed her eyes, slightly lowered her head, her face solemn, exuding the feeling of an experienced person. Remember, in other dimensions, you not only have to be careful of creatures in other dimensions, but also have to be careful of humans. Zhongzhu showed a calm, rational and experienced demeanor, explaining slowly, because awakened people also produce crystal pearls, although they cannot be obtained pure inside. But the essence energy hidden inside the crystal orb was more abundant than that of living beings. He was surprised and shouted, "What?" Zhang Zio's face was distorted. His eyes were wide open but absent-minded. In the brain of an awakened person, there was a crystal orb. Then wouldn't there be a danger of being maliciously killed? He collapsed on the ground, bowed his head to the ground and pondered. No wonder he had to escape just now. What kind of hellish place had he transmigrated to? If he wasn't killed by a monster, then he would be killed by an awakened person. Zhongzhu suddenly rubbed his head, as if to awaken his spirit and reassure him. "Let's go, let's leave here." She turned back to look. Her eyes were bright and positive, but warned him again, "It was almost dark, Purexia Yan, and I don't have much strength left. To be safe, we have to return to the supply point before it gets dark." Everyone returned step by step, footprints appearing on the snow. In the white snow, the three of them just walked like that. No one said a word. Zhongzhu glanced at Zhang Zio, somewhat concerned, thinking, Zio Pai's expression just now wasn't very good. Was it because she couldn't get the essence technique from the white ghost witch? She immediately opened her mouth to comfort him, but couldn't get it. "Pure, it's okay to be so technical. You don't need to be so pressured." Zhang Zio smiled shyly, a little embarrassed by such attention. Actually, he thought to himself, he was just surprised by this hellish world. While walking, they stopped, their faces showing surprise and fear. Something was running on the snow, rushing straight towards it, each stomp causing snow to fly up. Its eyes were shining brightly, its sharp teeth looked extremely ferocious. A group of white ghosts were running towards Zhang Zio's group to attack. Their faces were all savage with sharp fangs sticking out. Zia Yan walked forward, holding a spear and standing in front of the two people. Her face was somewhat panicked. There were 16 of them. How would these white ghosts fight? Zhongzhu leaned forward a little, analyzing the situation. White ghosts were solitary creatures. If they gathered on a large scale, then there was only one possibility. Zia Yan heard that and immediately continued. That is, in this tribe, there exists a white ghost which, after hearing that he shouted in panic, "Isn't a white ghost witch very rare?" She frowned. Her eyes were sharp, but still revealed a trace of fear. That's right. Moreover, normally, white ghost witches don't easily gather white ghosts to attack humans. 12 of them would be fine, but with this number of white ghosts attacking. At the same time, the white ghosts rushed straight towards 3 people at high speed. The white ghost's face created a terrifying feeling with its eyes shining brightly, its mouth wide open revealing a row of long, sharp teeth. Zia Research quickly grabbed the spear, preparing to enter a fighting stance. Her face was quite tense, gritting her teeth unconsciously and using all her strength to slash forward, dazzling. The bright slash went straight down on the white demon's head, causing blood to splatter everywhere. On the other side, Zhongzhu was also using her moves. Her power was flying everywhere, creating a wild wind. She raised one hand high, continuing to use Shattered Sky. Magic power exploded. A bright red light appeared around the position where she and he stood. A white demon jumped high, raising its hand to attack Zhang Zio. Its claws were extremely sharp and large. Just scratching it would be the end of him. At this moment, Zhongzhu saw that his side was being attacked. She immediately turned to face forward to block. Zhang Zio could only shout loudly, "Han Zhongzhu." A cut appeared on her body. Blood also sprayed out from it. Zhongzhu and he fell onto the snow after being attacked. Zia Yan looked over from afar and shouted in panic, "Zhu Zhu." Zhang Zio tried to sit up, his face showing both fear and concern. On the white snow, a long red blood trail appeared. She was lying on the ground with a long blood trail flowing from her lower back. Zia Yan worriedly called out, "Han Zhongzhu." At this moment, he remembered something. That's right, he just received pure technique. Blessings. Zhang Zio quickly used the spirit technique. Zhongzhu's body gradually recovered. She opened her eyes slightly when she felt something from inside her body. Her whole body was covered by a new source of energy. The feeling was very strange, as if her body was immersed in vast spirit energy. Her body was floating lightly. The cut behind her was gradually closing. She thought to herself, the wound on her back was healing quickly. It was really itchy. Zhongzu's face was lightly flushed, a bit of enjoyment. Her whole body felt very warm, like she was in a hot spring. Suddenly she opened her eyes wide. Her face was flushed. Zhongzu twisted her body. Her eyes were hazy, breathing heavily. It was so hot. Zhang Xiao, who was sitting next to her, saw the scene and wondered, was she in heat? The two of them didn't notice that there was a white demon standing there watching. They immediately pounced towards the two of them with a speed and a savage expression. Her eyes glanced over, as if an electric current was flowing through them. Zhongzu stood up, looking straight ahead, her cold eyes filled with energy. His eyes showed surprise, his mouth gaped in disbelief. This was. A mark appeared behind her, the star map of Han Zhongzu. Zhongzu's hand stretched forward, a powerful flow of energy gushed out. The white demon attacked, but her entire body seemed to be sucked into that red vortex. She clenched her hand tightly, her eyes closed coldly. An explosion occurred, glowing red like a fire. Then the fire shrank and disappeared, with ashes falling from within. System notification. First time killing a white ghost. Skill points added 1. Zhang Xiao stared in surprise, somewhat unclear about the problem. Skill points. Xia Yan hurriedly ran over, her expression worried. Zhu, it's great you're fine. Zhongzu didn't answer the question but asked to concentrate. Focus on the enemy. Her eyes were extremely cold. The fire in her hand kept burning, getting stronger and stronger. A skill was released, explosive inflammation, causing the white ghosts to scream in pain. It lay down on the snow, rolling back and forth in pain. She seized the opportunity and decided, our energy can't last much longer. We need to fight quickly. First kill the white ghost. From afar, loud sounds came from the white ghosts. The white ghost walked in the middle, surrounded by white ghosts. It walked proudly to show off its strength. The white ghost bared its sharp teeth as if to threaten. It held the weapon tightly, its mouth continuously screaming, blessing. The energy flow ran to the body of the white ghost that had just been beaten and was lying on the snow. Its body seemed to have received more strength and returned to its original state. Zhang Xiao was scared when he saw that the white ghost was healing them. This can't go on. We will be consumed by them until we die. He angrily shouted, Han Jiangzu, but she calmly ordered, Hong Fong, use Hong Fong to take me up high. Then she raised one hand high up in the air, her eyes extremely determined. Then Zhongzu used Hong Fong. Zhang Xiao's whole body floated in the air. He turned his head to look around, searching for the white ghost. Where is it? Where is that guy? Zhang Xiao's eyes widened when he saw the location of those ghosts. He confirmed the exact location from his perspective looking down at them. Then Zhang Xiao pointed forward, instructing her on the location, southwest, 200 meters away. Hearing that, she quickly gave the order, break through, 200 meters southwest. Zhongzu started running when she received the order. It was clear. Her eyes were full of determination, rushing forward like a rocket. Even he was the same, quickly moving to another location. Xia Yan also followed. She carried the sword and ran step by step with a tired expression. She opened her mouth wide, her eyes filled with determination. Razor raised her weapon. Energy exploded around her body. Xia Yan used the flame lake. The white ghosts looked on in shock. The sword quickly reached the white ghost's face. It was shining like fire. But when she slashed down, it didn't touch anything, suddenly realizing and panicking. This is bait. Zhang Xiao stood here and shouted, the real body is here. The white ghost's eyes glanced over, revealing a sinister smile. The white ghosts ran towards him in a terrifying and dangerous manner. The two girls were both shocked, their eyes wide open because of the current situation. Both of them called out loudly, Xiao Pai, as he was currently being attacked by the white ghosts. by the white. Both girls were frightened and opened their eyes wide, shouting a warning. A beam of light appeared around Zhang Ziyo and enveloped him. He quickly disappeared from that position in an instant. Xia Yan frowned, somewhat surprised. That was a decoy. The little skin had already absorbed the white ghost witch's essence. Zhang Zhu was equally surprised, gritting her teeth in shock. How could that be possible? She felt that the problem was not quite right. She had clearly absorbed the blessing. At this moment he had landed below, steadying his feet. Zhang Ziyo had appeared right behind the white ghost witch at some point. He laughed mockingly, his words filled with contempt. No way, you're not just thinking that. Zhang Ziyo flew up high and questioned, only you know how to use decoys. It turned its head and looked in surprise. He slashed at the white ghost witch, his face contorted to concentrate his attack. The system displayed a notification. The first time killing a white ghost. Skill points increased by 1, unlocking the basic skill of dagger mastery. The white ghost fell down, hitting its face on the snow right in front of a white ghost. Zhang Ziyo still held the knife in his hand, his eyes coldly looking at it. The white ghost's eyes were shining brightly, and its mouth exhaled white smoke. Then it quickly turned around and ran away, no longer having the ferocious look from before. He breathed a sigh of relief. It was so scary. From the other side came a call, Ziyo Pai. Xia Yan and Zhang Zhu ran over in a panic. Oh my God, are you okay? She reached out her hand with a serious face. Ziyo Pai, I think you need to give me an explanation. Zhang Ziyo lowered his head slightly. His eyes were confused and he mumbled for a moment. He looked at the white ghost lying there, let out a breath. Then answer, find a safe place, then I will slowly explain to you. The warm fire was lit. Warming up in this weather was necessary. Inside the small tent they had built, the three of them were sitting around the fire. Zhang Zhu held a cup of warm water. Her eyes were thoughtful. 1-star dual skill, and it was also the rarest healing system. Zhang Ziyo looked at her and felt puzzled. Why did this older sister react like that? Was she not happy? Xia Yan turned to look and asked, Ziyo Pai, do you know what it means to be an awakened healing system person? She explained, between awakened people, there was a division. Awakened people could absorb the pure low-level medical technicians, and people with pure technique can absorb high-quality healing materials. Then the success rate will be even higher. Xia Yan's face showed some dissatisfaction at such a difference. For an awakened person, a violent type like me, no matter how high the aptitude is, it is destined to be unsuitable for healing elemental techniques. Among 100 awakened people, perhaps only one person can successfully absorb healing elemental techniques. He showed a surprised and slightly confused face. His tone mixed with a bit of humor. So exaggerated? Then won't you become a hot commodity? Zhang Zhu pondered, her eyes slightly lowered, showing worry. Don't you understand what this means? Her hand touched the badge and trembled. The country stipulated that a field team must consist of 4 people, and everyone hoped that there could be one person in the team who was a healing element. She explained, the awakened healing system determines the stamina of the entire team. However, in this awakened person's star chart, there is only one pure healing system. Hearing this, Zhang Ziyo also suddenly opened his mouth in surprise. He also realized why the 2 people had unusual expressions. So I am worried about you. I know, your aptitude is not high. The stars are even more miserable. But you became a person who awakened the healing system. Zhang Ziyo asked, this healing system is so rare, no matter how bad your aptitude is, you will still be used as a tool by those organizations and have to carry out relatively dangerous missions, right? Zhang Zhu gently nodded. She turned to look at him with a determined gaze. After returning, you can go to school normally. After graduating, just work directly at the hospital as a doctor. Zhang Ziyo was stunned and had a blank expression. No way, it is so powerful. I even thought that I could step onto the path of becoming a god. But what is the result? The path went straight to the hospital. Xia Yan angrily shouted, Zhu Zhu, you said that there must be a limit to hot goods. How to go about the future, you have to let Ziyo Pai decide. Zhang Zhu's eyes still had a sad look. How could I not understand this principle? But she didn't say anything more and just quietly picked up the cup. He looked at her worriedly and also felt sad. Zhang Ziyo closed his eyes tightly to gather his spirit, to control his emotions. He quickly changed the topic to another problem. Okay, don't think about this anymore. I'm 16 years old now. Xia Yun also quickly followed. Right, the road ahead is very long. Thinking about it now is useless. She dragged Han Zhangzu stood up, excitedly saying, "Come on, let's go see the harvest together, you noisy." Xia Yan also did not forget to turn around and instruct him. Zio Pai, go to bed early, wake up early tomorrow, and continue training. Zhang Zio smiled gently, obediently replying, "Okay, I know." She felt extremely warm in her heart. So this was the feeling of being cared for. It was really wonderful. The sky brightened again, and on the ground, the snow was still covered in cold white. A snow unicorn somewhere was baring its sharp, terrifying teeth. Xia Yan sat near the fire, and when something happened, she turned around and called, "Zio Pai." She whispered to him the strategy. No need to fight head-on. You have more intelligence than it. The giant snow unicorn stood in front of Zhang Ziyo. It was many times bigger. Xia Yan looked at the watch on her hand, cheering for him. Wait another half a minute. Your reward is a cup of warm tea. Zhang Hiu's eyes were full of determination, but he couldn't hide. At this moment, Zhang Ziyo was standing in front of the dangerous giant snow beast. It rushed towards him with a speed as fast as the wind. From its eyes to its actions, it showed fear. Snow Beast swung a fist towards Zhang Ziyo. He was able to retreat a little to avoid it. But his face was still injured. The scratch was bleeding out. It continued to rush towards Zhang Ziyo like a hungry tiger seeing meat. Its eyes were shining brightly, slashing horizontally right in front of him. Zhang Ziyo used his hand to block the attack. His face was wrinkled with pain. A skill was quickly used, the green light. The light flashed in a long line. The two girls looked at him with eyes full of worry and thought about the future. Xia Yan saw Zhang Zu's expression and asked, "Little Zhu, are you still worried about letting Zio Pai absorb the white ghost pearl this morning? Can it be absorbed successfully? He must like it very much. In the land of the Northern River, he cannot find it. Piruhat basic skill is better than the white devil crystal pearl." Her eyes were filled with worry, unable to cheer up. "It's just that Zio Pai only has 9 stars. Xia Yan comforted her. "I understand you, wanting to quickly fill up his few stars with the Sepiri advanced technique, but we also have to consider the practicality and cost." She analyzed the problem. Growing up in the north, the alien beasts outside the dimension that you have come into contact with the most in the past few years are all white ghosts. We need to use white ghost crystal pearls to make up for the consumption in battle. Increase the limit of spirit energy. Xia Yan's eyes changed, becoming colder. For me or you, this spirit technique, whether he wants it or not, he must have it. System notification. Green light. Strongly attack the enemy. Increase damage to the green light position, plus a slight knockback effect, and can also be used to block attacks. Bronze quality can be upgraded. The snow flag kept attacking. Zhang Ziyo just used his hands to block those attacks. He retreated backwards, his feet trying to stand firm, creating a long snow path. Zhang Ziyo held the crystal pearl behind him. It was shining brightly as if it was accumulating energy. This morning, as soon as he woke up, Xia Yan told him to absorb the white ghost crystal orb. The system notified him that it had considered the conditions for upgrading. He wondered and looked at it. Then, he researched how to use skill points in the inner star chart. Basic star power and skills could be upgraded through the training process and the host's skill points. Star skills could be upgraded with the same type of star or skill points. The system displayed that the remaining skill points were currently 2. Zhang Ziyo rubbed his chin and stared at the screen, deep in thought. He thought to himself, there was a common sense in this world. Once a star box was lit, this star skill could not be replaced, upgraded, or removed. Other people's star skills were fixed, but his own could evolve infinitely. The system displays information. The interface of the Northern Dipper 9-star map. 1 blessing slowly restores the target's health. Level 1 bronze bar can be upgraded. 2 decoy creates an illusion to confuse the enemy. Level 1 bronze bar can be upgraded. 3 newly received the light bar strongly attacks the enemy, increases damage to the light bar area, and adds a slight pushback effect. Level 1 bronze bar can be upgraded. 4 newly received endurance repulsive skill. Increase self-defense. Level 1 bronze can be upgraded. I have dual 1-star skills, and dual skills have the same upgrading progress. Zhang Ziao was still thinking. To upgrade from bronze to silver, you need 10 bronze-grade crystal pearls. From silver to gold, you need 100 bronze-grade crystal pearls, or 10 silver. The exchange rate increases in order. He glanced at the crystal pearl. The change in quantity leads to a change in quality. When bronze is upgraded to gold, the effect of the crystal skill is completely 2 different concepts. System notification. Absorb white ghost crystal pearl 1. Vitality increases. The notification popped up again. The current level of the bronze sword. Level 10 bronze sword 1-on-1. The current level of the bronze patience. Level 10 1-on-1. The promotion conditions were met. The quality of the skill had been promoted. The bronze sword had become silver. The bronze patience became silver. The snow beast opened its mouth wide, its sharp teeth exposed. It stretched out its claws and charged towards him crazily. Zhang Ziao stood still in place, his mind filled with thoughts that made him freeze. But then a source of energy appeared in his eyes. Zhang Zhu stood there in fear. Zhang Ziao, are you crazy? Xia Yan shouted. Quickly dodge. He clenched his fist, showing his determination. Then Zhang Ziao punched the monster hard. His eyes lit up coldly, his gaze filled with coldness. That punch sent the snow beast flying far away, spitting out blood and splattered everywhere. It fell onto the snow, trembling as it tried to support its body and stand up. The sword flew from the other side, spinning in the sky with energy surrounding it. The snow kai lay collapsed on the ground, blood flowing out and covering the place where it lay. Zhang Zhu stood on the other side and quickly called out to him, Zhang Ziopi. She seemed panicked and extremely anxious, displaying her star chart immediately. Your star chart appeared. It was like that, actually. When I absorbed the white ghost star pearl, I vaguely felt that my star technique could dip a quality improvement. Zhang Ziao scratched his head, let out a breath and stammered. Apart from this, in fact, my second star is also a 1-star dual skill. He secretly judged in his heart. These 2 elder sisters are also trustworthy people. Moreover, even if he wanted to, he couldn't hide his own skill improvement, so he might as well just say it directly. He lowered his head slightly, looking obedient. I know this matter is very surprising, so it can't be revealed easily, but we are all family, right? Hearing this, Xia Yan immediately felt that it was reasonable. Her face slightly lowered as she thought. Zhang Zhu froze for a moment, her eyes staring at him. She lowered her eyes, not daring to look straight anymore, and said, Zio Pai, I'm sorry. Then she continued, there's something I shouldn't have hidden. His eyes widened, clearly showing confusion. His mouth slightly opened in surprise. Zhang Zhu's expression was sad, looking down with a heavy heart. This is the broken space that my parents left for me. He raised his head to look up, his expression full of curiosity and surprise. Is this the skill that allows you to swallow monsters into space? What's there to apologize for? We're all our parents' children, so who wouldn't be able to give it to? His eyes highlighted his gentleness and sincerity. Moreover, with your talent, if you use it, it will definitely have a better effect than me. With my aptitude, if it were to come to my hands, I wouldn't necessarily be able to absorb it. She lowered her head slightly, her eyes half closed, her expression calm but mixed with a hint of contemplation. In the past 2 days, I've consecutively successfully absorbed the essence orbs of the White Ghost and the White Ghost Witch, both of which are 1-star dual skills. Even purer technique can still improve in quality. Zhang Zhu looked down, her long eyelashes slightly lowered, her expression mixed with thoughts and a bit of worry. proving that she could definitely absorb the golden quality of the essence technique. Zhang Ziaokao Yu, her eyes half closed and half open, the corners of her mouth slightly raised. This elder sister looks mature, but she is actually more haunted by inner conflicts than herself before she transmigrated. He quickly refused. Stop, you also overestimate me. Her face was a little blank. Zhang Ziao immediately explained, first of all, the level of the spirit energy will limit the ability to absorb the quality of the spirit technique, and not everyone is as perverted as the elder sister. Under normal circumstances, people who awaken at the Stardust stage absolutely cannot absorb the gold quality spirit technique. He raised a second finger. Secondly, even if you can absorb it, you normally won't use this spirit technique. Zhang Zio's expression was calm but a little tired. Right now you are only at the lowest stage of the Stardust stage, so your spirit energy is basically not enough. Just now you used the silver quality sword. It has already consumed half of your spirit energy. He turned to the side, his face dejected. If I absorb the fragments again, then when I fight, when I use a 1-star spirit skill, I can only wait to die in that exhausted state. I didn't understand things before, so giving it to me would be a waste of heaven's gift. The two girls were still deep in thought, their eyes filled with sadness. Zhang Zio closed his eyes and thought to himself, the original owner was not trustworthy, so as an older sister, I can only quickly find a way to grow up to protect my younger brother. He advised, so don't worry anymore, your way of doing things is correct. Zhang Zu's eyes were filled with tears, her whole body trembled with emotion. Little brat. Zhang Zio put on a show, extremely confident and smug. These two still think I'm a bad student. It's just some basic knowledge. What do you mean you don't know? And you're even against Mariverk Xiao Pai, an extremely intelligent, resourceful, and wise person. Zia Yan reached out to him. This brat is not bad. She held his neck. He really understood that increasing the quality of his essence technique, is there any limit, and how to increase it. Zhang Zio excitedly explained, it is only based on absorbing the same type of essence pearls and training himself to increase it. Before I still haven't felt the specific limit. It's because my essence energy is still not enough. Zia Yan raised her head high, analyzing the problem. It seems, it is still necessary to have both essence energy and essence technique, huh? If there is only one pair, if you don't use it carefully, it's useless. Then she let go of her hand, closed her eyes and looked regretful. It was really regretful. She had originally planned to use her own money to directly pulverize her skills up. Zia Yan's eyes suddenly widened, but she turned back to warn him carefully. It's a sin to hoi bai. Your talent like this can't be exposed carelessly. It's a matter of quality. If you are careful, you can find an excuse to cover it up. But after entering school, it will be difficult for you to avoid joining the Awaken team. The team members will accompany you for 3 years of high school and even university. If you don't choose your teammates well, the whole team will be destroyed. Do you understand? Zhang Zio looked at her with a gentle and somewhat hopeful gaze. Or should I directly join the two sisters' team? The two girls both turned back to look with surprised eyes, which made him somewhat embarrassed. He frowned, looking confused because he didn't understand the problem. Did I say something wrong? What's wrong? Zia Ran opened his eyes wide in surprise, his expression showing surprise. She raised her head high, her expression somewhat excited. That's right. How could I forget about this possibility? The sky darkened again, and everyone returned to the small tent that had been set up temporarily. Zia Yan took the cup of warm water in her hand. Zio Bai, the words you just said to me. Her eyes were thoughtful. Her voice was calm, sharing her thoughts sincerely. In another world, trustworthy teammates were very important. With such a strong personality, Zio Pai had been appointed. He would be famous in the world. 3 years of high school. Zhang Zio and Zhang Zu sat and listened seriously. We cannot expose his abilities for fear of exposing them. This will put pressure on him, causing him to continuously level up his fine technique quality. Zia Yan spoke decisively, showing confidence and responsibility. So I have a suggestion. She gave her opinion, that is, let Xiao Pai skip the 3rd year of high school and join our team directly. Hearing that, he was extremely surprised. Xia Yan said seriously but passionately, shorten the time of high school study, and in 4 years of university, we can definitely train him to become an all-round powerhouse. At the same time, with Xiao Pai, a healer in our team, it will be even safer when we carry out missions. She laughed happily. Relying on our strength, there will be no problem in protecting him to grow up safely. At least before graduating from university, we will be his strongest support. As for his high quality of star techniques, let's just say it was passed down from his parents. Zhang Zhu thought about the problem seriously and said, Xia Yan is right. If that's the case, that's the best way we should do. Before Xiao Pai first displays the star chart to the world, let's first increase the quality of his blessing to silver. Xia Yan agreed to pay the white ghost star pearl, 200,000 each. If this elder sister buys 10, it will be 2 million. I will use the money to raise this star technique of hers to silver. Zhang Xiao opened his mouth wide in thought. I am about to join their team. You confirm it can still be like this? If so, then let's decide like this. Zhang Xiao was so happy that his face turned red. From today on, he will be a member of their team. But one word surprised him. How could it be that easy? Xia Yan leisurely looked at him and said the reason why, because her team was already full. Zhang Xiao's face froze, unable to process the information that was transmitted. He covered his face, his mouth gaping open and distorted. Are you kidding me? We've been discussing for half a day, and the team of 2 is already full. Ha Engin, with a quiet expression, said calmly, listen to me first. In the team, there is a guy chasing after your sister. His name is Cao Tuingreat, she said in Zhang Xiao's confused state. Her strength is not bad. She is a close combat awakened person, but extremely bad temperament, selfish, Tuingreat with a cold and evil aura. Xia Yan recounted. The last time we represented one high school in the competition in that other dimension, he almost killed another of our teammates. Because both of us came from noble families, we tried to save face and refused to give in. Her eyes were filled with fatigue, and your sister and I had become the sacrifices of that struggle. Their conflict could not be resolved, so we did not dare to carry out any more missions. The entire team only existed in name. Xia Yan spoke her opinion. As long as my strength was a little stronger, then from the perspective of team building, as a precious healing awakened person, I am qualified to replace one of them. Zhang Xiao also became more serious when he heard these words. She spread her hands out slightly, closed her eyes and said calmly, she had originally planned to take Zhu Zhu out of the team. Xia Yan's eyes became calm again, but the price of leaving was that she and Zhu Zhu would hardly find 2 other capable classmates in the school. A fire was burning in front of the tent. There was a white rabbit standing beside that fire. She tilted her head slightly, her eyes looking straight ahead. Every team member of the same level had a tacit understanding that had increased over the past 2 years, and soon was the college entrance exam. So there were few teams that wanted to split up or form groups. Xia Yan curled her lips into a smile, her eyes narrowed with a bit of arrogance. Of course, she was talking about people with strength like us, not ordinary members of the team. Her tone was somewhat humorous, with big thighs like her and Zhu Zhu. Then I'm afraid there will be quite a few people with average or low strength, who will snatch the 2 of us away. Xia Yan suddenly returned to a serious state, somewhat embarrassed. But if we act so arbitrarily, then we will have to bear the pressure from the 2 families and the school, and it is inevitable that we will be caught up in their anger. After all, this is a gamble for the ranking in the college entrance exam. She talked about that person. Moreover, that Gao Zhongxian, his methods of pursuing your sister are extremely despicable. I have been holding back for a year now, and I don't know how much longer I can hold back. Xia Yan expressed her frustration. No matter what the reason is, we cannot continue to work with Gao Zhongxian anymore. She pointed up to show that she had a new idea, her face full of confidence. Therefore, I want to minimize the number of team members and keep another teammate. That way, I will allow you to appear with the method and posture of a dark horse, to replace Gao Zhengxian Great from our team. Zhong Zhao was also a bit surprised to hear that. Xia Yan continued, as for school, we will pave the way for you, skipping straight to year 3. The fire there was burning brightly like everyone's will. He seemed quite thoughtful as he sat silently thinking for a long time. Zhang Zhu looked over on Clue with eyes full of worry and concern. She stood up with a slightly tired look. It's okay, no need to worry. Zhang Zhu closed her eyes and said, the child has just begun to understand things. There's no need to force him like this. You? Before she finished speaking, Zhang Zhao interrupted. I want to try, not only so that you can graduate smoothly, he continued, but also so that I can survive in this world of danger everywhere. Zhang Zhu's eyes widened when she heard these words. Zhang Zhao turned to look. His eyes were extremely determined. I agree to try. Ah no, I can definitely do it. I want to join your team. Her eyes were sparkling with joy, her face filled with happiness. Zhao Bai. 7 days later, in a land, snow covered the grass. On the white snow, the tail of an animal was lying on the ground. Blood continuously flowed down from its body. Standing out on the white snow, he was holding the knife in his hand and was in an attacking position against the beast. The system announced, Bronze level dagger mastery leveled to silver level. Bronze level 10 kill skill point increased by 1. Zhang Zhao's eyes became sharp. He smiled confidently. In the end, he had killed the white ghost alone, without them needing to do anything. Dagger mastery leveled up. Xia Yan walked towards him who was standing over there to monitor. She hugged her body, shivering from the cold. You did well. Do you still have energy? Always help me warm up. He pointed at himself, closed his eyes and said calmly, I have the nanny skill here, not the body warming skill. Zhang Zhao started to use the blessing skill. Xia Yan's whole body seemed to be energized. She touched her body, her cheeks flushed as she exclaimed, so comfortable. Zhang Zhu stood beside her and saw that, speechless. She told him, Zhao Pai, there is still a week until the opening day, so we have to leave the snow plains. The remaining time, Xia Yan will arrange for you to receive special training, and you also need to help me collect the white ghost pearls. Zhang Zhao raised his hand to confirm, I understand. They were standing above when something flew up from below. Something flew up and made a sound, attracting their attention. Zhang Zhu's eyes widened when she saw something. This is... Her face became serious, her eyes full of strength. Her mouth shouted loudly, signal gun, meaning someone needs help. They are near our area, immediately be alert. You also urgently asked, shall we go over there and check? She clenched her fists, her face wrinkled with worry. No, this signal gun is for the security team of this area. As an ordinary explorer, once you see a signal like this, the message you receive is not that someone needs your help. Zhang Zhu's eyes were cold, but that this place is dangerous, don't go near. On the other side, the white ghosts were chasing a group of people. Zai Han's face wrinkled, showing extreme fear, his mouth wide open to breathe because he had to run fast. Zhang Zhu opened her eyes wide, her face showing fear. That thing is heading towards us. Hide for me. No orders, no action. Xia Yan replied, understood. Zhang Zhao also listened. Yes. Zilin ran while looking behind. He was worried. Captain, we can't shake them off at all. Lin and shouted in despair, if this continues, we won't be able to wait for the guards to come to our aid. We will die. My energy is almost gone. Zai Han clenched his teeth, tired and in pain. He gathered his energy, preparing to use his skill, explosive inflammation. The attack moved towards Lin En, his face showing tension. He was attacked and immediately called out in panic, Captain. Zai Han turned back to look, revealing a sinister smile. Don't worry, when I get home I will report to the family head. You are a kind hero. In the end you couldn't fight back and died. Lin En collapsed. A series of white ghosts were approaching. He screamed in pain and despair at being betrayed. Lin En raised his hand to ask for help, but no one turned around to help. Zhang Zhao's group was hiding behind a rock to avoid danger. Zhang Zhu looked out with an extremely uncomfortable expression. Zhang Zhao frowned, wondering, is this the 100 Ghost Night March? She gritted her teeth, her eyes somewhat wary. This is the team we met before. Zhang Zhu looked at the scene and guessed, causing such a big commotion. It seems they really found the young white ghost witch. Sweat poured down Zhang Zhao's face, full of fear. What should we do now? Her eyes revealed a gloomy, calculating look. Waiting. Zhang Zhu affirmed, the white ghost witch gathered together, launching a large-scale hunt like this. Behind them there were at least 2 white ghost witches from the clan to guard. Taking advantage of this opportunity was beneficial. Just in time I needed it. Pereth white ghost's pearl. Zhang Zhu gave her opinion. The opportunity was not lost. The time had not come. Then at this moment, she shouted, now is the time, Xia Yan. She grabbed the sword and slashed down. The energy burst out. The white ghost turned back to block Xia Yan's attack. The light was clear. She was thrown into the tree with great force. Xia Yan's face wrinkled, showing obvious pain. Zhang Zhao suddenly shouted anxiously, Xia Yan. He quickly used the pearl to replenish his energy. Zhang Zhao used his blessing. The abundant energy flowed into her body. Xia Yan breathed heavily, her face flushed red. She opened her eyes, revealing a satisfied smile, so happy. The white ghost rushed straight towards Xia Yan in an angry posture. She held her red face. Come here, let's have a good fight. Xia Yan slashed down with great force. A long streak of energy appeared. He was a bit panicked. This was crazy. Did she inject chicken blood? Zhang Zhu was extremely serious, also fighting. It's not a good habit. His current behavior is just a meaningless waste of energy. Zhang Zhao scratched his face in confusion. Maybe because my blessing was a bit too strong. She was a close combat veteran and was injured, so I focused a bit on her. She exuded a helpless expression. Someone in the team had awakened the healing system. It had already made him start to become blindly arrogant. Then Zhang Zhu charged forward with a determined look. He can't be relied on. I'll blow away the white demon from come closer. She turned back to tell Zhang Hiu, I'll leave my back to you. The white demon rushed forward like a hungry beast, Uncla standing there waiting for it. It attacked Zhang Zhao, but it was just a bait. He quickly turned around behind the white ghost. Zhang Zhao stabbed into its body, blood spurting from that position. His eyes lit up dangerously. His expression changed like a different person. The system appeared, 10 kill yellow copper skill point +1. Zhang Zhao felt confused. Killing an enemy of the same level can also give himself a reward. Xia Yan stood on the other side trembling and begging, little brat, buff again and blessed to warm up your body. He cried and shouted, do you think I'm a perpetual motion machine? My energy is almost dry. The white ghost stamped its feet, flying upwards. Zhang Zhu warned, the white ghost wants to run. Zhang Zhao frowned angrily, blocking them. Xia Yan's eyes were also full of determination and fierce spirit. Want to run? You guys don't even think about it. She just ran up and tripped over a rock below. Xia Yan fell face down on the white snow. He stood there speechless. Zhang Zhu gritted her teeth. Damn it. The distance to the wilderness was only a little bit more. The white ghost was quickly looking for a place to escape. Zhang Zhao frowned, his eyes filled with worry. Was there any way to slow them down? He remembered, they said, his blessing was different from normal. Not only did it have a healing effect, but it also made people feel extremely comfortable. The image of Xia Yan satisfied with his blessing appeared. Zhang Zhao looked at his hand, smiling confidently, so that was it. Might as well make good use of it. Femaleth's trait. He released the force towards it. The snow flag that the white ghost was riding on suddenly had a problem. Its face turned red. It screamed in joy, its whole body struggling and writhing. The white ghost witnessed it and was extremely surprised, unable to believe the scene before its eyes. Zhang Zhu stood on the other side, her eyes focused, and then used her skills. The skills mixed together to attack the white ghost. She walked towards them, looking down at where they lay. All 3 were quickly defeated by them. Although there was danger, it was over. Zia Yan sat down on the ground, relaxing her body. It was really dangerous. She turned to praise, little brat. You are really quick-witted, to be able to think of using your blessing as a poison milk. Zhongzhu walked over and gave Zia Yan a strong kick on the head. She hugged her head, crying and apologizing. I'm sorry, I won't dare again next time. They went over to check Yan Du's pulse. After a while she said, this person is dead. As for Zia Yan, she just took out the crystal pearl. We are so lucky. Both white ghosts have crystal pearls. She twisted her knuckles. This guy is dead, right? If he is dead, then I will take action. Zhongzhu looked over with a curious gaze. He wanted to take the crystal pearl from the brain of the awakened person. If not, just leaving it here would be convenient for those monsters. Zhang Ziao frowned. These two young girls were only 18 years old, right? Talking about digging out someone's brain, as easy as digging out ice cream, it was really too sloppy. She quickly called out to everyone, let's go. The white ghost is dead, so those white ghosts will definitely come back. He stammered, yes. The human bodies were scattered on the white snow. Zhang Zio's eyes were somewhat bewildered. All of them were dead. After looking at it for a while, he felt nauseous and had to cover his mouth. Zhongzhu was cold. You reap what you sow, that young white ghost. She analyzed. There was a mark of the tribe on his body. No matter where that guy ran, he would still be chased. If they gave up that young, then maybe there would be a way to live. Zia Yan was somewhat confused. Why did they only bring a few of these crystal pearls? These people were really leftovers. Zhongzhu knelt down to check. Being chased by so many white ghosts, maybe the crystal pearls were absorbed during the escape process. He stood by the side, asking everyone's opinion. That parahuman pearl, can I see it? Ha Engin took out the pearl. This was taken out from the human body. Aren't you afraid? Holding the pearl in his hand, Zhang Hiu thought. On the outside, it looked no different from the others. Purith pearl on the monster's body. It seems that the only difference between the two is, perhaps it is impossible to absorb the essence technique from the human essence pearl. The system displayed a notification. Checking. His eyes widened in surprise when he heard the system's notification. Zhang Zio was a little confused, his face blank. No way, didn't he say? It is absolutely impossible to absorb the essence technique from the human essence pearl. The essence pearl from his hand flew up into the air, emitting a powerful source of energy. The notification bar appears. Checking. Pearl, quality, contains 1 spirit skill. Hits the enemy hard. Increases damage to the part of the spirit that is hit, with a slight knockback effect. Can also be used for defense. Bronze quality can be upgraded. 2 patience, passive spirit skill, increases own defense. Bronze quality can be upgraded, can be merged and absorbed. 3 blessing, slowly restores the target's vitality. Bronze quality can be upgraded. 4 decoy creates an illusion to deceive the enemy. Bronze quality can be upgraded, can be merged and absorbed. 5 flame condenses sparks to cover the body or equipment. Silver quality can be upgraded. 6 violent inflammation condenses fireballs. Creates an explosion. Silver quality can be upgraded, can be merged and absorbed. 7 common spirit releases healing rays. Restores the target's body. Can be connected to multiple targets. Quality silver can be upgraded. 8 seals leave a mark on the target's body, guiding the healing rays to connect and jump. Silver quality can be upgraded, can be merged and absorbed. Zhang Zio looked at the crystal pearl and thought, with my star dust stage strength, at most I can only inlay 2 more star techniques into the star groove. Chung Lin and Seal are group healing star techniques that can be used together. Nothing is more suitable. Then he turned and called out, Han Zhongzhu, Zia Yan, you. Zhang Zio took out the crystal pearl and said, I have already felt the healing system star technique in this human star pearl. I think maybe you can absorb the star technique in it. Zhongzhu listened in disbelief. What did you say? She continued, you can get star techniques from human star pearls. This ability is definitely not good news for other awakened people. Zia Yan was also surprised and said, oh my god, this is really earth-shattering. It's too exaggerated, only feeling the healing star technique. What about the other star techniques? He thought in his mind, I have to keep a move in everything I do. I can't possibly tell them that I have an inner star map now. Then he smiled lightly and said, You're just especially sensitive to the healing system's star techniques. Zhang Ziao raised his hand and placed it on his chest, confidently saying, I rely on the two of you to get to where I am today. As a team member, we are a community with closely linked interests, distributed according to labor. This star pearl should belong to Xia Yan. Xia Yan waved his hand and said, She spoke softly. Dad, Mom, we're back. In the photo was a picture of their parents. Zhongzhu put her hand on her mother's hair and said, On this trip to the snowy plains, Xiao Pai has become much more understanding. Did you know? Xiao Pai has extraordinary talent. All three of her soul cells are 1-star 2 skill. Zhang Xiao said from behind, I'm going back to my room to clean up. If I don't take a bath, I'll stink. Zhongzhu turned back to look at her complaining little brother. Oh my god, I'm covered up so I smell like sweat. She was a little sad, her eyes drooped. Zhongzhu looked at the photo and continued, Mom and Dad, Xiao Pai will definitely become an outstanding awakener like you two. Her slightly worried voice rang out softly. As an older sister, could she protect him well? The flies were flying around non-stop. They were flying back and forth. He looked at it and thought with disgust, this room. The room was messy, everything was a mess. Snack wrappers, socks were thrown on the bed. Clothes were scattered on the floor like rags. Papers were thrown around. Zhang Ziao looked and thought, this room was so dirty, messy and shabby. He casually picked up a sock. It gave off a strong fragrance, so fragrant that he almost threw up and had to cover his nose. A piece of paper was thrown into the trash can. Zhang Ziao continued to think. The whole room was full of trash. How long would it take to clean it up? 3 hours later, the computer desk was clean and shiny. The objects on the desk were neatly arranged. The shelves were so clean that they sparkled. He flopped down on the bed and laughed out loud in satisfaction. He was so tired. Suddenly, Zhang Ziao sat up and thought, that's right. There were still some of the original owner's dark histories that had yet to be dealt with. He reached out to turn on the computer. The computer screen lit up, and a greeting rang out from inside. Hello everyone, my name is Zhang Xiaopi. On the screen, Zhang Ziao confidently pointed at himself and said, Today, I have become an awakened person. Remember the names of the 4 big guys, Zhang Xiaopi, the god who will rule the different dimensional space of the northern Zhang region in the future. He silently folded his arms and continued to look attentively. Let me briefly introduce myself. Often parents joke that their children were picked up from the trash. Luckily, that dog was quite cute. Zhang Ziao inside was smiling proudly as he introduced. My mother is a beautiful and gentle woman. Her name is Zhang Hongdai. Listen, this is a person's name. Look at my name again, the day I met me. The dog my mother raised died. That dog was named Xiao Pai. So, I inherited that dog's name. He heard his face a little embarrassed thinking, the origin of this name is really careless. Then suddenly there was a knock on the door which startled Zhang Ziao awake. He turned around to see what it was. It was Zhongzhu. She reached out and called, Xiao Pai, come out. Each boxing punch hit the punching bag. It was Zhongzhu practicing boxing. She stopped and took her hands off to rest. Her face was drenched in sweat. Zhongzhu picked up her phone to look at it, wiping her face with her hand while thinking Xiaopi must be practicing too. Suddenly, the phone's notification sound appeared. Ting ting. On the screen, Zhang Xiaopi, the friend she was following, posted a content. She clicked to see. In the phone was a photo of a hand holding out 2 fingers, and behind was Xia Yan's legs with the caption, "So happy, I get to go home with her. Xia Yan's legs are long and beautiful. P.S. On the first day I liked Xia Yan." Seeing this, Zhongzhu's face immediately darkened, her eyebrows furrowed. At this time on the other side, a sword appeared, tall and handsome, with 25 star boxes in hand. The star chart was a sword path, inlaid with 1 golden star technique, 2 silver and 2 bronze. He was standing with his sword out in the mysterious power. His spirit energy was at the nebula stage, just like Han Zhongzhu and Xia Yan. They were the proud children of heaven. He was in his 3rd year of high school, and she was in her 1st year. If she wanted to challenge him, the prerequisite was to win the championship in the 1st year of high school group military training competition. The notification bar displayed. The abundant spirit energy had been activated. The effect could accelerate the condensation and recovery of the host's spirit energy. At this moment Zhang Xiao was sitting like he was meditating. Suddenly his eyes opened wide, feeling his own power. The notification screen appeared. Level 3 spirit energy had increased to level 4 spirit energy. Zhang Xiao raised both hands and thought excitedly. Leveled up. The distance to defeat Gao Junwei was 1 step closer. After a while, he opened the food tray. Inside were eggs, vegetables, and cauliflower, all healthy dishes. Zhang Xiao looked in surprise and his face darkened. This was Xia Yan's special meal. He held back his tears and ate silently, thinking, not bad, but saying it was delicious was completely different. I miss instant noodles a bit. Because in order to join my sister's team, I really have to risk my life. Lei Jin was sitting not far away, also holding a food box in his hand and looking over. He thought, training every day from 4 am to 9 p.m. The image of him holding the weights continued to think, not stubborn or naughty, but always completing and exceeding the assigned tasks every day. Then the image of him jogging and studying more books, a 16-year-old boy, stuck in this hellish training room every day. If it were someone else, they would be driven crazy. Lei Jin continued to think, a child with such willpower, this is the first time I've seen it. That's what he thought in his head, but his face right now is no different from Zhang Xiao's current one. He really wants to eat barbecue. The next day at the Xia family's villa, a sudden voice rang out. What? The man who just spoke was Shan Hai, Xia Yan's father. He angrily continued. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Who did she bring home? Why didn't you tell me earlier? The beautiful woman beside her was Ziyun, Xia Yan's mother. She saw this and immediately asked, Husband, what's the matter that you're so agitated? Xia Yan's mother, Xia Ziyun. Shan Hai looked at the phone and replied, My precious daughter. Then he put down the phone and continued, You brought your son home. Ziyun immediately smiled lightly. Are you in love? Isn't this a good thing? How is the boy's personality? Is his figure okay? He turned his head and said in confusion, Zhang Xiaopi, that boy from the Han family. Suddenly, her eyes widened as if she couldn't believe her eyes. Suddenly, the two of them turned to each other and angrily exclaimed, Xia Hai Shan, I absolutely do not agree to this relationship. Do you agree too? Shan Hai took out his phone and looked at it himself. Ji Yun looked at it with surprise. On the screen was Zhang Xiao's post. He continued, I sent it home 4 days ago and updated it every day. I said I like to study it. She immediately cried and urged him, Why don't you hurry up and take a look? If you delay another 2 days, they'll have a baby. The scene changed to Xia Yan's house. Punches were thrown continuously. Lei Jin reached out to block the punches. He and Zhang Xiao were practicing together. He continuously threw punches. Lei Jin urged, hurry up, he said. Your punches are as soft as cotton. How can you fight back an enemy like this? The words just now seemed to anger Zhang Xiao's madness. He immediately swung a terrifying punch. Immediately, Lei Jin was punched back hard. He praised him with a sweaty face. Not bad, you hit well. He was praised and immediately smiled happily. He smiled. Both of them were still practicing. Jang Hiu thought to himself, finally, I was able to touch his defense without using any energy. While he was talking, Lei Jin from behind used his muscular hand to clamp around his neck and said, You're good, this position is the right one, keep it up. You'll definitely be able to succeed. Suddenly, Zhu Lan called from behind, Sorry to bother you too. Lei Jin wondered, Auntie Zhu, why did you cook so early today? Before she could say anything, Shan Hai appeared from somewhere and reached out to touch Zhu Lan's shoulder. He looked a little surprised. Oh, Zhang Ziao, who was being clamped in his arms, wondered, Who is this person? Go back 10 minutes ago. The doorbell rang. Zhu Lan opened the door. It was Shan Hai. She was also a little surprised and said, Mr. Zia. Immediately, he asked, Where is Yan Yan? Zhu Lan immediately reported. 3 days ago, the young lady and Miss Han went out together, saying that they wanted to go to the snow plains. After listening, Shan Hai immediately praised, That's good, children who understand things are good. That Han family's girl is a good child, has the will to progress. He continued to ask, Hasn't anything happened in the house these past few days? She stammered, This matter. Zhu Lan continued, 4 days ago, a boy moved into the house, but he was sent straight to the basement by the young lady and hasn't come out yet. Shan Hai immediately turned around with an angry face. Imprisoning is doing something illegal. He imagined the image of Zhang Ziao being imprisoned in an iron frame by his daughter. The basement, his precious daughter, actually imprisoned another family's child, although Zhang Ziao by his bad behavior was known to everyone. But no matter what, she was still his best friend's son. Not agreeing to the marriage was one thing, but at least he couldn't mistreat her like this. Zhu Lan added, Mr. Zia, the young lady invited a coach to tutor him. The two of them are in the basement, eating, sleeping, and practicing together. Every day when I bring them food, I see that the child's body is covered in bruises and sweat all over. After hearing this, Shan Hai was even more surprised. Training, Zhang Ziopi. She immediately replied, That's right. Do you want to go down and see? It just so happens to be dinner time. Sir, stay for dinner too. While it's still dark, let's take that boy out to see the sunrise. He said, Since he's here, let's go in and see. Then he thought, if you change your perspective, it was originally just said that Yan Yan brought Zhang Ziopi home. But why didn't she add that she brought him along for personal training? After standing and observing, Shan Hai acknowledged and thought, It's indeed training. At this moment, Lei Jin had already released him. Zhang Ziao was searching his memory and calling out, Uncle Zia. He immediately smiled and replied, It's been 10 years since we last met. Do you still remember me? Shan Zia continued, Come up here and rest a bit. These past few years, I haven't paid much attention to you. It's my fault. He immediately shyly reached back and scratched his hand, saying, You're exaggerating. Zhang Ziao thought to himself, with the original owner's destructive personality, he didn't stay away from Han Zhangzhu. These people are really righteous. The afternoon sunset was falling. A feeling of excitement and delight appeared. Lei Jin raised his hands high and said, The sunset is really beautiful. Grilled meat is indispensable. Then he turned to Zhu Lan and said, Auntie Zhu, I'll go get some skewers. I won't eat at home. Zhang Ziao's eyes lit up when he heard that, and he said, Skewer meat? His face was now filled with desire, his mouth watering. The shiny skewers of meat were being grilled hot. Zhang Ziao held 2 skewers in his hands and ate them with great delight, thinking, Really delicious, so fragrant. The starch is still the best. Shan Hai stood beside him drinking water and observing. Then he said, Seeing you have changed so much, I am also very happy. Thinking back, if your parents knew, they would be very happy. Hearing this, he looked up and thought to himself, the original owner's parents had been missing for so long that the original owner didn't have much of an impression of them. Then Zhang Ziao called out, Uncle, is there any chance that those who disappeared in another dimension can return? Shanhai put down the can of water and said, Who knows? The appearance of the space gate is still a mystery, and there are too many unknown things inside waiting for us to discover. He looked and continued, As for your parents, they belong to the pioneer army. They specialize in doing these things. Sun Hai remembers the past because new space gates appear frequently on this planet. He continued, and in order to study the characteristics of this subspace, an organization that calls itself the Pioneer Corps has appeared, an army formed by the military, which has been renamed an external organization. Shanhai continued to recall what he had said before. Once the subspace gates appear, they will enter first and assess the level of danger, to see if there are any resources inside, or if there are different types of materials and creatures that are beneficial to humans, or if the creatures inside are too aggressive, or if the environment is beyond the tolerance of humans, whether humans are capable of developing it, or if it needs to be completely destroyed. Zhang Ziao listened attentively to him continue. For example, the snow plain that you guys visited not long ago. It was because the pioneers poured so much sweat, tears, and even their lives to investigate. Then there was a formal development afterwards and opened the multidimensional space to the outside world. Shanhai's face turned pale. The Pioneer Corps was the most dangerous and also the greatest team. Your parents were also a member of it. He immediately raised his cup of water to drink. The pioneers, with parents as role models, then this child's future would definitely be even more difficult. He called, Uncle, where is the other dimension where your parents disappeared? After hearing that, his face immediately turned a little ugly. Zhang Ziao continued, I can't go there now, but you can tell me the name. The giant black dragons appeared. It was the Dragon Cave. Shanhai closed his eyes and replied, Work harder. One day you will be able to go to Long Quat and also give them an explanation. His hand holding the skewer tightened. Zhang Ziao thought of the name, Long Quat. Shanhai raised his hand to his mouth and lowered his voice. He added, That reminds me, you will be going to school in 2 days, right? He replied. Zia Yan said she will take you to school the day after tomorrow. Shanhai continued, Yan Yan is too strict with you. The training needs to be more moderate. Zhang Ziao replied, Zia Yan is very good to you. He then added, This training intensity is what you requested. Hearing this, Shanhai frowned and thought, I just said one wrong thing about Yan Yan, and this brat is already protecting me. He smiled and said, Little boy, you're all grown up. I don't want to get involved in teenage matters anymore. Shanhai also took the opportunity to remind you. But Ziao Pai, everything must be focused on studying. As for love, you can put it aside. Do you understand? Zhang Ziao felt extremely confused after hearing this. He turned around and asked, Uncle Zia, what are you talking about? What love? His face immediately became a little blank as he looked at Zhang Ziao. Shanhai recalled his posts and immediately said with a little anger, Isn't that Zhang Ziopi Bupiu? You post every day to express your love, but what about the first, second, third, and fourth day you like Zia Yan? Zhang Ziao immediately smiled and pointed at himself. Zhang Ziopi Bupi is indeed you. Then he put a piece in his mouth and continued. But Zia Yan confiscated my cell phone on the first day of training. In a flash, it was already training, day 5. A light flashed beside Zhang Ziao's face. The notification bar displayed. His full spirit energy had been activated, and his entire body was emitting streams of bright power throughout the space. Zhang Ziao thought in his mind. His spirit energy was stuck at level 4 of the Stardust period. It seemed that every 5 levels he would encounter a small bottleneck. He continued to think, in order to maximize the benefits, it was best to save his skill points until he reached the bottleneck to use. Suddenly Lei Jin called out, Ziao Pai, your training plan is complete. I will go find the next customer. Zhang Ziao immediately greeted back. See you again, Lei Ji. Suddenly his eyes widened in surprise. Han Jiangzu. She was standing in front of Zhang Ziao at this moment, looking at him with eyes full of affection. He raised his head and asked, "You two have returned from the snow plains?" Zhongzhu softly said, Then she took out a bag containing a few pearls and said, "Take this." Zhang Ziao looked at it and answered in wonder, "This is it." Zhongzhu replied, "White ghost witch pearls." He took them and looked at them in surprise as he counted 1, 2, 3, 4. The pearls were shining brightly. Zhang Ziao looked and exclaimed, "Oh my God, there are really 4 of them." Then he thought, "I'm afraid this big sister has already killed all the white ghost witches on the snow plains." Seeing that he didn't say anything more, Zhongzhu, who was crossing her arms in front of her chest, asked, "What, is it still not enough?" Before Zhang Ziao could answer, she added, "If it's not enough, I'll find a way to get some." Her face at this moment changed from surprise to gratitude, her hand still holding the bag of pearls and looking intently at Zhongzhu. Zhang Ziao looked at her and thought to himself, "It turns out that she came to Zuyuan on purpose for the sake of the white ghost's pearl." He looked at Zhongzhu and couldn't help but think. Zhang Ziao's eyes were filled with emotion as he called out, "Han Zhongzhu." Then he suddenly rushed to hug her like a child, making Zhongzhu feel confused and a little embarrassed. He leaned against her gratefully and said, "Thank you, sister." Hearing that, Zhongzhu put her hand on Zhang Ziao's back and gently rubbed it. She softly said, "Ziao bye." Then she helped him up and continued, "You never need to say thank you to me again." Zhongzhu suddenly held Zhang Ziao's shoulder and said, "But first, you better explain to me about those posts first," making him jump from being touched to feeling cold. On the screen appeared a post with the status line of liking Xia Yan on the 4th day. In the photo was Zhang Ziao and Xia Yan. His face looked quite ugly, but she was smiling very happily. Right below it was the post from the day before, the 3rd day of liking Xia Yan, with a sweet photo of Xia Yan. Zhang Ziao looked at it and thought with fear, "This Xia Yan?" He turned around and said resentfully, "It wasn't me who posted it. My phone was confiscated by her. This person is clearly not me. This photo was photoshopped." Zhang Ziao pointed at Xia Yan and continued, "This woman has bad intentions and is trying to sow discord. She must have set the time to post before going to the snowy plains." Zhongzhu heard this and sympathized. She thought so too. Then she said, "I will absorb the white ghost witch's crystal pearl. Let's see if I can upgrade to white silver." He quickly agreed, "Okay." The notification appeared, "The current blessing level is yellow bronze level 4 out of 10. The current bait level is yellow bronze level 4 out of 10. Zhang Ziao remembered Zai Han when he was killed. He thought, at that time, on the body of the dead healing awakened person. He also found 2 white ghost witch crystal pearls, which he had not yet absorbed. Then he remembered the white ghost and white ghost which, thinking again, adding the crystal pearl on the body of the 2 white ghost witches that were born. Then his blessing has already upgraded to yellow bronze level 4. Zhang Ziao took the crystal pearl out of his pocket. It immediately emitted a strong light that radiated around. He held the crystal pearl in his hand, his eyes filled with determination. In a flash, Zhang Ziao crushed it into pieces. Then he raised his hand, absorbing the white ghost crystal pearl X4. He said, in special circumstances, he would use these 2 additional skill points just in time to level up. The notification panel appeared. The current blessing level of the yellow bronze was 10 out of 10. The current bait level of the yellow bronze was 10 out of 10, qualified to level up. The quality of the essence skill had increased. The yellow bronze blessing had increased to the silver level. The yellow bronze bait had increased to the silver level. Xia Yan happily asked, "How is it?" Zhang Ziao's face was full of sinisterness. A smile appeared on his face, looking extremely cunning. Then Zhang Ziao raised his hand and said, "I bless you." When she heard that, she stood there in a daze. Her eyes were full of surprise. Her cheeks were red with embarrassment. Outside at this time, the sunlight shone throughout the space. The blue sky had a few scattered clouds drifting. A shoulder was sitting in the sun. The thin strap of the shirt revealed the charming collarbone. Xia Yan felt the enjoyment. Her eyes vaguely said, "This feeling." She was standing on the beach and wearing a bikini that showed off her beautiful figure. Zia Yan spread her arms out and continued to speak happily, feeling like a warm sea breeze was blowing by. She looked up, her face satisfied, saying, releasing all the fatigue in her body. Zia Yan bent down again, feeling the feeling of satisfaction that was bringing her, stammering, this feeling. But in fact, it was all just her imagination. In reality, she was crossing her arms in front of her chest, feeling that feeling and smiling with satisfaction. It was the power of the silver level blessing. Really comfortable, so good. Zhongzhu looked over in confusion and asked, "You again?" Zhang Ziao immediately smiled lightly and raised his hand to scratch his head. "I'm just testing the effect." Scene changed to the third level of the new city. Zhongzhu said loudly, "Zhongzin First High School. Not only the one who woke us up is a student. There are also many other ordinary students. Pay attention. Don't fight with other students." Zia Yan immediately said, after Xiao Pai understood, "Zuzu." He became even more talkative. Then she turned around and said, "Go register yourself, kid." Zhang Xiao was walking into the school and waved back. "I know, the seniors are waiting for you." In the school campus, all the students were standing in a line. The wheels of the suitcase were dragging on the ground. He thought as he walked, after coming to this world, first, he had to struggle to survive in the icy snow. Zhang Xiao thought for a while, then went back to school to prepare, directly skipping to the third year of high school. Oh my God, after so many years of not going to school, just arriving felt like hell. He closed his eyes in agony and thought to himself, why not reincarnate directly into a university student? The people around were surprised when they heard this. Everyone was full of confusion. Liu Qi turned to Lion Na and whispered, "Oh no, they won't fight, right?" Bo Fan immediately spread his arms to clear the air. "If we've been assigned to the same class, it means that the school has recognized Zhang Xiao's ability. You know, the last student in our class has come to take attendance. Don't act so hateful." Yu Peng heard this and turned his head away and said, "The awakened people of the 8 classes were all waiting for him to come. Everyone wanted to see who was at the bottom of class 2. What would the result be?" He continued, 9 slots. This useless person was assigned to the elite class. Are those teachers all blind?" Hearing this, Zhang Xiao didn't move at all and just hummed lightly. Then he said softly, "My groove is low, but I am a medical awakener. Maybe that's why they put me in class 2. Hearing him say that, everyone around was shocked, their eyes and mouths wide open. Bo Fan shouted in disbelief, "You are in the medical system." Zhang Xiao replied, "Yes." Then he continued calmly, "If this classmate has any opinions, then why don't we go to the faculty office to check the class division standards now?" At that moment, Yu Bang's face was extremely unsightly, and he turned away, feeling a bit embarrassed. He frowned and thought, if you didn't say you were in the medical system earlier, it would make me lose face in front of everyone. Suddenly, Liu Qi shouted, "Medical system." Yu Bang was startled. Lian Na beside him immediately covered her ears and dodged. Liu Qi awkwardly turned left and right then covered her mouth. "Sorry, I spoke too loudly." Then she continued, "Na, out of these 8 classes and 10 courses, only he is in the medical department. And he is also in our class." Lion Na still did not put down her hands and covered her ears in response to Liu Qi's excitement. Lion Na gently put down her hands and replied, The sky was now sunny, the clouds scattered around. Lei Jin raised his whistle and blew the whistle together. He put his hands on his hips and shouted, "Let's stop here for today's class, dismissed." Everyone quickly packed up and dispersed. Zhang Xiao also quickly left the stadium. As he walked, he was deep in thought. At Xincheng High School, in addition to the classroom with normal students, there were also separate classes that specialized in teaching awakened people. Everyone was holding balls in their hands. Zhang Xiao continued to think. There were 8 classes each year, and students were divided into different classes based on the school's evaluation. He still walked in his mind. He couldn't help but judge. The time to register at school was late. Most of the members had already been determined. Zhang Zio's eyes were full of determination. There were only 3 days left until the end of military training. If you want to represent the class to participate in the competition, you have to show your identity. The scene changed to 4 o'clock the next morning. In the stadium, 3 people were running together. Liu Qi bent down, put his hands on his knees and said, "Nah, you guys wait for me." She was out of breath and continued, "Why do we have to wake up earlier than the chickens? This is torturing ourselves." Lion Na turned back and replied, "A day starts early in the morning. How can we not grasp the time to practice? If we don't try hard, we will be surpassed by others." Liu Qi breathed heavily, put his hands on his chest and said breathlessly because he was too tired, "Surpass what? This race only has us. There really is no one else trying harder than us." Then she fell flat on the ground, spreading her arms and legs and saying, "Let's go back to sleep." Liu Qi sat up, feeling resentful and blaming herself. "How could I be the one who woke up? I just wanted to be a salted fish drawing comics." She didn't see anyone say anything, looked up and saw that everyone had run far away. Her eyes were full of grievance. Liu Qi looked up and saw that there was another person on the ground. He was standing there wiping his hair. It was Zhang Zio. He was using a towel to wipe the sweat off his body. Liu Qi said with a blank face, "There's someone who's trying harder than us." Zhang Zio was wiping when suddenly someone called out, "That classmate, that white-haired classmate." He looked up and looked confused. Liu Qi reached out to say hello. "Hello, my name is Liu Qi. We're in the same class." Zhang Zio smiled lightly. "Hello, my name is Zhang Ziobi." Suddenly she reached out and held his hand tightly, startling him. Liu Qi's eyes lit up and he said, "Little friend, may I ask, have you found a team yet? If not, would you like to join our team?" Liu Qi continued, "You are the one who awakened the medical system." Without waiting for him to reply, she waved her hand and said in one breath, "In our team there is the defense system, the damage system, good coordination, definitely can protect you." Before she finished speaking, a hand was placed on her shoulder and called Liu Qi, causing her to stop in surprise. It was Lion Na. She immediately smiled and said, "Hello little friend, my name is Yi Lion Na, also in 2nd grade. This little girl is just talking nonsense, don't take it to heart." Then she turned to the 2 men and said, "Oh right, there are also these 2, the older brother Zhu Wen, and the younger brother Zhu Wu." The older brother Zhu Wen seemed cold, and the younger brother Zhu Wu raised his hand and waved. On Zhang Zio's face sweat was still running. He observed and thought, 4 people, the standard number of people for a team. Zhang Zio replied, "Thank you for your invitation, but it seems like your team is already full." Liu Qi immediately waved his hand and said with a smile, "This is a small problem. If there are enough official team members, I can be a reserve. Actually, I'm just an extra, responsible for cheering everyone on." He stood there looking at her like a talking machine that was constantly talking. "Nana and I are close friends. Joining this team is just a matter of convenience. These 2 guys and Nana are both at the top of the list of new students this year. Many people want to be on the same team as them. I'm so useless. I don't want to hold everyone back." Zhang Zio thought. "During the day, I've observed a few people. Lion Na put her hands on her hips and asked, you don't want to train, right?" Liu Qi scratched his head and replied with a light smile, "I'm really not suited to this job." Then he turned to evaluate the other 2 boys. The twins' hand-to-hand combat skills were among the top in class too. His eyes were full of contemplation. If he could join a team with top strength, it would of course be great. Then a voice broke Zhang Zio's thoughts. "Classmate, I have something to ask." Zhu Wen still kept his face cold and emotionless and said, "May I ask, would it be convenient for you to reveal to us, which medical system's essence techniques have you absorbed?" Zhu Wu heard this and nudged him, saying, "What you said is a bit rash. If you want to pull someone into the team, you must first introduce yourself." He rolled up his sleeves to reveal his rippling muscles and continued, "My brother and I both have a star map of punch, 20 star grooves, 2-star techniques, respectively, Green Mang, Patience, which are of the golden quality. Lion Na saw this and smiled lightly. She immediately held out her 2 hands to introduce herself. I have a star map with a 2-handed staff, 21 star grooves, 4-star techniques, divided equally into bronze gold qualities. The star techniques are respectively King Mang, Patience, Zhao Yan, and Explosive Flame. Zhang Ziao heard this and his eyes lit up, thinking to himself, people with monstrous talents like Han Zhongzhu and Xia Yan are extremely rare. 20-star grooves and 21-star grooves. This aptitude among the awakened people is already considered upper middle class. Then he bowed his head and said lightly, I only have 9-star grooves. As for the star techniques, respectively Blessing, King Mang, Zhang Ling, all are silver quality. Zhu Wen raised his hand to his chin, his face full of contemplation as he said, Blessing and Zhang Ling actually have 2 medical star techniques. How formidable! He suddenly paused, his eyes widened. Zhu Wen continued, wait a minute. What quality did you say your star techniques were just now? Zhang Ziao replied, silver quality. The 4 of them were shocked when they heard this. Everyone's eyes and mouths were wide open, shouting, white silver. He immediately covered his ears with his hands. Then Zhang Ziao was startled and gradually let go of his hands. Zhu Wen, who had been cold just now, immediately grabbed his hand and said, please, God, please take us with you. Liu Qi and Lion Na immediately rushed forward and hugged him, while Zhu Yu hugged his legs tightly. Zhang Ziao heard this and said, just call me Little Skin. He thought that the most difficult thing was to find a team, but it was solved so easily. At this time, in the stadium, everyone was standing around. A powerful fist appeared. Bu Fan was shouting, and he swung his fist with great authority as he charged. The blue-haired boy Tuan immediately dodged to the side to avoid the punch, and Bu Fan's hand immediately floated in the air. Then he smirked, just like that. He clenched his fist and made another powerful punch. He raised the fist in his hand and prepared to strike. A punch landed on Bu Fan's body. Everyone who witnessed it felt pain for him. Zhu Wen immediately blew the whistle to signal him. He raised his hand and said, geez, stop for me. I've told you many times to go easy on me. Zhu Wen continued, this is your friend, not a monster from another dimension. Hearing this, Jun Shen turned around and looked, then clicked his tongue. He didn't beat him to death. Jia Lin appeared from somewhere, panting as he pointed and said, Brother Shen, look at Class 1. Hearing this, he turned around and wondered, where did that white-haired guy come from? Why is he so close to Nana? Jia Lin continued. I heard that he's the guy who's always asking for leave from Class 2. He just came to register yesterday. That guy really doesn't respect Brother Shen. He even dared to dig into Brother Shen's house's wall. Hearing this, Jun Shen tilted his head and cracked his neck, raising his hand to crack each joint, his smile curling up. Then he walked away, waving his hand and saying, today's training is over. You guys follow me, give that guy a gift, and arrange a special first class. On this side, Zhang Ziao didn't know what was about to happen, but was still leisurely laughing and chatting happily with Lion Na. The harsh sunlight shone down on the school. Everyone was exhausted and exhausted. Finally, they could rest. Lion Na raised her hand and called, let's go to the cafeteria to eat. She put her hand in her pocket and said with a smile, that's right, yesterday was too exciting. We still haven't added our contact method. Lion Na took out her phone and continued, let's be friends. I'll add you to the class group and discussion group. Zhang Ziao saw this and immediately agreed. Okay, I'll add you. Jun Shen and Jia Lin were hiding behind to observe, their faces full of resentment. When he saw this, he said, Brother Shen, I see they're just one more step away from holding hands. Jun Shen turned around and said angrily, he dares. He was so jealous that he asked, they want to go to the cafeteria, right? Let's go. Wait for that guy to go alone. At the school cafeteria, the person handing out the meal card picked up the card and looked at it, then said, Student, your meal card hasn't been activated yet. Liu Qi immediately raised his card and said loudly, then use mine first. Lion Na also raised her card and said softly, let me, there is more money in my card. Liu Qi looked up at Zhang Ziyo and said, I guess it's a system bug, it won't log you in. We'll go with you to the faculty office to reactivate it. He replied, I'll go by myself later. Zia Yan and Zhang Zhu sat not far away. She turned to say to her, Zhu, look over there. Zia Yan happily said, look quickly, our little pie has made friends, and there are two beautiful girls too. Zhang Zhu followed her gaze and observed attentively. At the dining table, Liu Qi and Lion Na kept supporting Zhang Ziyo. Zia Yan continued, tell me, does he have an early love? Zhang Zhu turned her head and softly replied, leave him alone. She was immediately surprised and asked, Zhu, why are you suddenly so sure about him? She thought back and thought, before, Ziyo Pai was too unruly, then remembered when she slapped him. But ever since she slapped him, he seemed to have become a different person. He must have been scared at the moment of life and death, so he decided to change himself. Zhang Zhu silently continued to think, but long-term stress has no effect on training. Being able to get to know a few people the same age, this is a good thing. Zia Yan held her head and sighed. I feel like I'm about to turn into an old mother. After eating, Zhang Ziyo immediately went to put the tray of food on the shelf. He took out his phone and looked at it attentively, one hand in his pocket. Zhang Ziyo immediately said happily, I have to tell the Han Zhangzhu sisters, I've found a team. Suddenly a call made him return to his emotions. Hey, brat. A group of students standing in front of him said, follow these guys for a trip. Then a person stepped forward, grabbed his hand, and pulled him up, making him unable to understand what was going on. Zhang Ziyo thought, school violence is a common phenomenon and exists in many schools. He was immediately dragged away by them. He turned back and continued to think. But before he crossed over, he had never experienced it, because he was so bland that the bullies at school didn't even bother to look at him. They immediately pushed Zhang into a dark room. Zhang Ziyo continued to think. He didn't expect that after crossing over, not only did he have a few more close friends in his life, but he also experienced this. Zhun Shen's voice rang out, Zhang Ziyo, right? He was sitting on top, his voice full of sarcasm as he looked down at him, kneeling at his feet, and said, you and Yi Liana are so close. Don't you know that girl is noticed by this old man, Brother Shen? Another person said, this person even joined Yi Liana's team. Zhang Ziyo softly raised his head and asked, who are you? Zhun Shen immediately took out the sword in his hand and pressed it down. He jumped down. Tu letter 1EA5 NTH letter 1EA7N put the sword on his shoulder and said in a low voice, Class 1 boss, Cow Tu letter 1EA5 NTH letter 1EA7N. He smiled wryly, daring to think of the girl this old man liked. Then he lowered his sword and walked towards Zhang Hi letter 1EBFU. Today, this old man will personally teach you a lesson. Without saying anything, he swung out a slash across his body. But fortunately, Zhang Hi letter 1EBFU reacted in time and jumped back. He narrowed his eyes and thought, Cow Tu letter 1EA5 NTH letter 1EA7N, this name is so familiar. Then he swung out another slash. Zhang Hi letter 1EBFU's reflexes were quick and dodged to the other side. Zhang Hi letter 1EBFU looked at the sword and thought again. Cow Tu letter 1EA5 NTH letter 1EA7N. Cow Tu letter 1EA5 N Vi. If this name wasn't said by a family member, who would believe it? He looked up in surprise and continued to think, delivering a deadly blow. On the other side, Tu letter 1EA5 NTH letter 1EA7N picked up the sword and snorted lightly. He placed the sword on his shoulder and said arrogantly, this old man has the right to do it. Even if I beat you to a cripple, so what? After Zhun Shen finished speaking, he grinned. Zhang Ziyo looked up and said, you guys are violating the school rules. He arrogantly said, breaking the rules, it's normal. If anything happens, my brother will take care of me. You don't know who my brother is. Then the people around him gradually approached him. Zhang Ziao immediately bent down and said softly, I am an awakened person from the medical system. Yu Bang heard this and burst out laughing. He laughed out loud and sarcastically. Brothers, listen to what he said. After laughing, Yu Bang immediately said, no matter what awakened person he is just a useless 9-star. Then he shouted, hold him back. I have to see if the medical system can take a beating better. Immediately, 2 people came forward and grabbed Zhang Ziao. The hand was about to be placed on his shoulder to restrain him. Zhang Ziao immediately reached out and grabbed his wrist. In the blink of an eye, he flipped him forward and knocked him down. Seeing this, Hu Bang angrily shouted, damn, you dare to fight back. As he spoke, he raised his hand into a fist and raised it up. As if he was angered, Zhang Hu also raised his hand into a fist and looked at Hu Bang with cold eyes. Without saying much, he immediately threw a punch straight at him, causing Hu Bang to be surprised and unable to react. His mouth spat out a mouthful of blood, his eyes still filled with fear. The force of the punch sent Hu Bang flying backwards. His whole body slammed into the wall, and he cried out in pain. Tuan then, on the side, saw this and couldn't help but be surprised and raised his hand into a fist. The group of people behind stood there, looking on in fear and bewilderment, feeling pain for Hu Bang. Tuan then shouted, what are you standing there for? Come on. Immediately, both of them rushed towards Zhang Hu. But very quickly, he used his signature kicking move. Zhang Hu bent his leg and swung it hard at him, sending him flying high. Then he added another fist, screaming, and punched him directly in the face. Seeing that, Tuan then quickly reached out and drew his sword angrily. Damn it, you don't know what to do. He quickly discovered it. He immediately turned around and reached out to practice magic, giving a blessing, and immediately the magic appeared and covered the space around him. Then Tuan Then's hand naturally let go of the sword in his hand. A ray of light pierced his head. Tuan Then's face looked up angrily. Suddenly, he stopped and vaguely wondered, what is this feeling? Tuan then lowered his head and opened his eyes wide, feeling some strange feeling flowing through him. He turned his head and ran, realizing his face was full of fear. Not good. Behind Zhang Hu's eyes lit up a sinister smile. Immediately, a punch landed straight on Tuan Then's face. He continuously punched him in the face, gnashing his teeth. If you have the right, you can do it, right? Your brother is really terrible. This is bullying classmates. This is not knowing good from bad. Tuan then just lay down and was grabbed by the neck and punched again by Zhang Hu. He was punched until his face was swollen, and he spoke loudly. Stop. You are violating school rules. I will tell my brother. His eyes were full of malice, and he said softly, breaking the rules, how could that be? We were just having a friendly conversation. If you dare to bully others, you must be prepared to be counterattacked. Yu Bang on this side painfully held his stomach and trembled as he said, it's broken, my rib is broken, my rib is broken. From where did the voice that sounded startled him come from? It sounded like it was painful. It was Zhang Ziao. He looked at Jun Shen who was lying on the ground and continued, but it's okay. Zhang Ziao turned around and smiled sinisterly as he continued, I told you anyway, I am an awakened person from the medical system. I guarantee that this small injury will be completely healed for you. Returning outside the school grounds, his footsteps were very hurried, and a voice rang out, Senior? They said they had already gone towards the storage room. Hearing this, Zhang Tiat immediately ran away, thinking, nothing can happen, she must make it in time. The door was immediately kicked open by her with all her might. Zhang Tiat shouted loudly, stop it all, it's all my fault. I didn't take good care of little Pai. But the scene before her eyes made her shut her mouth, her eyes wide open in surprise. Scene transition lat this time in the basketball room. A wooden stick was broken in half. Both ends were jagged as if someone had broken it. Zihan was now running over in a panic to ask Zhang Zhu, is nothing wrong? Can you catch up? He reached the door and turned to look at the scene inside, then was shocked. his eyes and mouth wide open, unable to believe what he saw. Inside, Zhang Ziao was leisurely standing and rubbing his palms, while Jun Shen and his friends were lying on the ground. Everyone's faces looked very miserable. Then a voice called out, "Ziao Bai." Zhongzhu worriedly ran over and grabbed his hand and asked, "Are you not hurt?" Seeing this, Zhang Ziao was also a little surprised and replied, "I'm fine. Why did you come here?" She immediately reached out to explain. "The contact person from your class said that he saw you being dragged away by someone from another class." Zhongzhu still kept that worried and panicked face and continued, "I saw that you only sent a message with the first sentence, but didn't he see the second sentence, so I was going to come find you. I just happened to meet him." While speaking, she pointed to Zihan. He saw this and raised his hand to greet her. After finishing speaking, Zhongzhu immediately raised her hand to cover her face and calmed her mind, saying, "Luckily you refine." Then she turned to Zhang Ziao and said, "Go back to military training. I'll handle this place." When he heard this, he immediately smiled innocently. But in his mind, he was surprised and thought to himself, "Is she unconsciously helping me deal with the consequences after all? How much trouble did this original owner cause?" Zhang Ziao saw this and said, "What's there to deal with? They all fine." But Zhongzhu didn't say anything and just kept silent. When he saw this, he continued, "Really, if you don't believe me, just ask them." After saying that, Zhang Ziao's voice immediately became sharp as if ordering him to continue. "Speak quickly. Where did this friend come from with his face full of bruises?" And he waved his hand and forced a smile, saying, "That's right, I'm fine. We're fine. We just rubbed against you a little." Zhang Ziao looked at that and immediately smiled confidently and thought, "Look, I can handle it myself." The friend below was beaten just now and his cheeks were swollen, as if he was holding something in his mouth. He looked up and thought, after beating, he then treated. After treating, he then beat. Who can stand it? No wonder I told you not to touch those people in the medical department. This guy is truly a devil. Returning to the school, a person's crying sound rang out in a classroom. "Hoo-hoo, brother." It was a handsome man. He was being punished, holding 2 wooden sticks in his hands and trembling as he spoke. "That brat is crazy. His blessing technique is also poisonous." He looked up at the man in a suit standing by the window and continued, "Also, he broke the knife I gave you. I must avenge you." The man heard this and gradually turned his head. This man was Tuan Roman 6, Tuan Than's older brother. Hearing his younger brother's plea, he immediately agreed. "Okay, I know, just train well. When you perform, try to get a good ranking. Don't make mom angry." Tuan then heard this and immediately cried and replied, "It's just a wooden knife. I'll give you a new one when I get back. Brother, you're so good to me." Tuan Roman 6 heard this and lightly smiled and said, "What are you saying? I'm your most important younger brother." Tuan then, after asking for help, stood up and waved his hand and said, "Then I'll go back and continue practicing." After saying goodbye to his younger brother, he turned back and looked far away towards the window. Then he looked up at the sky and said, "Jiang Tiu Pai." Then he continued, "Tight and Hai's useless younger brother." It seemed like his name was also that. The sky was now night. The night had fallen over the city. The crescent moon and the stars were shining brightly in the night sky. At this time, at a small restaurant, everyone was sitting around eating and drinking. Lion now put her hand on her thigh and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, it's me who got you involved." Liu Qi heard this and immediately said, "What's wrong with our little girl being attractive? It's that shameless guy. Let's go tell the teachers." Zhang Ziao heard this and lightly smiled and replied, "Why tell the teachers? It's a matter between boys. I've already resolved it. I'll beat them up. They probably all want to report it." Zhu Yu's face was already a little red, and he raised his hand and resolutely said, "Deserved. They should be taught a proper lesson. From now on, let's work together. I'll beat them up for you." Hearing Zhu Wu speak, Zhu Wen also turned to look at him and agreed, "That's right. In the next 2 days, our team will act together. Don't let them catch you alone again. Today, If it wasn't for Liu Boffin's coincidence that we ran into you, even if something happened to you, we wouldn't know. Liu Qi, who was still picking up food, quickly replied, "That's right. Luckily Liu Boffin is trustworthy, and even knew to call someone, and called Senior Han." Then she turned to look at Lion Na and continued, "Don't you know, Senior Han is the commander of the 12th grade school boss team, a legendary character. Coincidentally, she and that handsome guy's older brother are on the same team." Lion Na saw this and thought, Liu Qi is always looking forward to dramas, huh? Zhang Ziyo heard this and calmly said, "Han Jiangzu, that's my sister." Liu Qi was startled after hearing this. She pictured Jiangzu, that Han Jiangzu, the big sister of Xincheng High School, the commander of the school boss team, the cold and arrogant ice goddess. Liu Qi at this moment had eyes full of admiration as he exclaimed, "She's your big sister." Zhang Ziyo's face immediately blanked as he replied, "So many nicknames, what the hell is an ice goddess?" Then he immediately put down the chopsticks in his hand and continued, "Speaking of which, I have something to tell everyone." Everyone's eyes immediately turned to Zhang Ziyo as he continued. There was an unresolved conflict within Han Jiangzu's team, threatening the lives of everyone in their group. So ever since I awakened, she started training me, wanting me to join her team. Zhu Yu opened his eyes wide in surprise and said, "There's even such a thing? But with your strength, wanting to join the school boss team is unreasonable. After all, you only have 9 free minutes." 9 free minutes. Hearing Zhu Wu say that, Zhang Ziyo raised his hand to answer. It was indeed quite difficult, but it was not hopeless. She hoped that I would shine brightly in the military training rehearsal, and then, through another teammate of hers, she would find connections for me, and help me obtain the qualification to skip a level. Then he continued softly, "I heard that in the 6 classes of grade 12 in the school, there was only one person who was awakened in the medical system. And in the 6 classes of grade 11, there were only 2 awakened in the medical system, and our class had 8 classes, and up to now, I was the only one awakened in the medical system." After listening, Lion Na immediately thought about it and replied, "The medical system was very rare. Combined with your 3 silver level elite skills, it could really make the teachers look at it with different eyes." She looked up at Zhang Ziyo and continued, "But your potential is limited. You can't just think about your sister. You also have to think about yourself. Grade 12 needs to continuously go to other dimensional spaces to do missions. Moreover, your sister belongs to the level 10 team. The difficulty of the missions will only get higher." When he heard this, he immediately closed his eyes and bowed his head slightly and replied, "She and I are relatives. I trust her. I just want to say that." Zhang Ziyo clenched his fists and said with some fear, "If the plan succeeds, I'm afraid I'll have to leave the current team." Then he looked up at everyone and smiled lightly, "Sorry guys?" When Zhu Wen heard this, he raised his hand and said humbly, "Brother, if you feel this path is right, then go ahead." Zhu Wen also lightly slapped his hand on the table, agreeing with his brother's opinion and saying, "That's right, what's there to apologize for?" He stood up and raised his hand to declare, "One day as a teammate, a lifetime as a brother, we support your choice." Zhang Ziyo saw this and was still a little worried as he asked hesitantly, "You guys don't blame me, right?" Lion Na put her hand on her chin and happily replied, "What are you thinking? We didn't do anything to hinder other people's futures. What you said just now was just because you were worried about you. As long as you think you can do it, then go ahead." Zhu Wen also happily reassured Zhang Ziyo, "You helped our team get a ranking, we cooperated with you to shine, and we entered Block 12 together. After all, we're still riding on your fame." Zhu Wen also happily acknowledged and replied, "My brother is right. If it weren't for you, if we had brought Liu Qi to battle, we wouldn't have been able to get any ranking." Liu Qi hadn't said anything all this time, but now he was eating and crying, his body trembling as he said, "What a pity, it was so hard to meet such a strong medical teammate." Lion Na saw this and immediately teased and asked, "You are so regretful. Is it because he left you can't continue to be a reserve, right?" Hearing that, Liu Qi immediately turned around and scolded lightly. Don't say it so bluntly, break up for 30 seconds. After seeing that everyone still supported him like that, Zhang Ziao immediately happily said, thank you, Liu Qi, no matter what the ranking is, as long as it is an award, it belongs to you. Hearing that, Liu Qi immediately shook his head and denied repeatedly, how can that be? It's yours. Then he picked up the can of water and raised it high. Zhang Ziao immediately excitedly said, no, to me, this friendship is more precious than an award. Let's clink glasses. After clinking glasses, he put it in his mouth to drink and immediately choked. Zhu Wu saw that and said, it's not drinking. Why are you showing off that overwhelming aura? It's creepy. Quickly order food. Scene changed to 3 days later, at the school's stadium. At this moment, everyone had gathered and sat on the cheering seats, and the sounds of praise and admiration rang out. There are so many handsome juniors this year. The phone screen was like it was broadcasting live, and the comments kept appearing. Can you stop making it so bad? I can't see it. It's all covered up. What's so interesting about grade 10? I want to see the snow in the stadium, and there's a monster on the scene. It's so boring. A girl holding the phone immediately said, wait for me to adjust it first. She looked at the phone and continued, this year's freshmen aren't that great, but they're a bunch of new kids, so the standards can't be that high. This is Su Ru, a grade 12 student whose hobby is recording life. Then a boy beside her shouted, look at that. At this moment, smoke and dust were flying everywhere. A boy with injuries all over his body was lying on the ground in pain. His eyes darkened, and he turned around, gritting his teeth and looking up. Above is the handsome god standing with his sword. Rays of power like lightning are surrounding him. Beside him is a crystal pearl that is constantly shining. At this time another boy comes over. His clothes are already torn and tattered. His face is full of misery. He shouts, we give up. The handsome god looks like that, then turns away and says a sentence, bland. The loudspeaker immediately rings. Class 1 grade 10 wins. Then the loudspeaker continues to announce, inviting the next group of contestants to prepare. NHI is still holding the phone at this time and exclaims, I take back what I said just now. This junior is too awesome. The quality of the crystal technique is also great. Is it a silver quality crystal technique? The screen is turning to the handsome god's group. Immediately after that comments appear, it must be a crystal technique. This kid is so rich, damn, that silver crystal technique. Then suddenly he turned his head around as if looking for something. The comment appeared again. What is he doing? Admiring rich people? I have to look at something else. So bland. Suor also saw it and said, this little brother seems to be looking for something. After a while, Tuan Then's eyes stopped, looked up as if he discovered something. Then he pointed up and said, Zhang Tiu Bai, you wait there for me. At this time, Zhang Hiu and his group were sitting in the stands. Seeing this, they were confused. Tuan then raised a finger and pointed straight. He gritted his teeth and said in a harsh voice, this time I will beat you to death on the stage. The whole audience turned their eyes to Tuan then. Suor also turned her phone over and asked curiously, what's the situation? On the other side, Tuan Roman 6 smiled lightly and said, it seems like my younger brother and your younger brother have some kind of conflict. He was sitting next to Zhang Tiat. Both of them were pressing down. Tuan Roman 6 continued. The next match is a competition between the two of them. Fighting in teams is different from fighting alone. When necessary, I will tell the little god to stop. As if taking advantage of the situation, he continued to speak. Children always like to cause trouble. Tight NHI. Before Tuan Roman 6 could finish speaking, she turned to reply, shut up. Zhang Zhu frowned and reminded, keep quiet. Hearing this, Tu letter 1EA5 Envi raised both hands and happily replied, I'll listen to you, obey, Commander Han. Then he turned around and continued, Tight NHI, I'm just concerned about your younger brother. If you don't like to hear it, then I'll just shut up. Suddenly, a hand appeared from nowhere and placed it on his shoulder, saying, come on, come on. It was H letter 1EA1 Nguyen. She immediately bent down and pushed Tu letter 1EA5 Envy away, saying, "Get out of the way." Seeing this, he had no choice but to step aside and turn to look at the two people who were talking. H letter 1EA1 Nguyen turned to Jang Tuy letter 1EBFT and said, "The first-year high school team competition has already begun. Where is Ti letter 1EC3 Ubai?" She looked down and continued, "After Ti letter 1EC3 Ubai's match, we will enter the third-year high school team competition, right?" Tu letter 1EA5 Envy looked at this and immediately thought to himself, "The woman is blocking the way." At this moment, the phone was still being held up and working. Suo heard this and wondered, Jong Zio Pai, is this the second-grade boy from the first-year middle school team that is going to fight? After thinking about it, she closed her eyes and sighed. Suo recalled the matches, one without moving X1, one without moving X2, one without moving X3. Suo thought about it and looked up, thinking to herself, in the past few games, this boy won without doing anything. On the contrary, the strength of these twins is very strong. On the other side, a pair of hands were raised up, cracking their knuckles, preparing to take a stance. "It was Juwoo," he said while cracking his knuckles. "After this game, wait for the finals of the third-year middle school group to end. Then we can challenge the school's domineering team." Liu Qi heard this and asked with some doubt, pretending to be weak, "This move is also okay." She continued, "Zio Pai had already defeated Gao Junshen. His brother would definitely know. Zio Pai is not simple." Lion Na immediately took a bottle of water from Liu Qi. She opened the cap of the water bottle as she spoke. No matter how exaggerated Gao Junshen's words were, in his brother's eyes, Zio Pai was just a new soldier. They only knew that Zio Pai had the star flag and the fortune, but they didn't know anything about its specific qualities and other star skills. Lion Na continued, "When the time comes, we will suddenly attack when they are not prepared." As soon as she finished speaking, she raised the water bottle and drank. Liu Qi behind her was a little surprised when she heard this. Zhu Wen on this side was also looking intently and said, "Judging from Gao Junshen's performance just now, this person's overall strength was not weak. Last time 80% was because he underestimated the enemy. That was why he was taken advantage of." Zhang Zio heard this, the person who bent down to tie his shoelaces, and spoke. The female assassin in their team was not easy to deal with, relying on her body movements and sneak attack ability. Zio Na's magic system would be very dangerous. Then he raised his head and looked at Lion Na and said, "But Zio Na is our strongest output turret. As long as the explosive flame can hit the target, we can directly deal with the opponent." She heard this and raised her hand, somewhat worried, and replied, "But the condensation speed of the explosive flame is too slow. It is very easy to dodge. If we participate in the battle, the attack range of the explosive flame can affect you guys." Zhang Zio heard this and lowered his face slightly as he replied, "As long as we can make them stand still, it will be much easier to hit them." Then he raised another finger and raised his face and continued, "Once we enter the battle, Zio Na will accumulate explosive flame. When they rush over, I will immediately give the front row more blood." At this moment, the commanding voice rang out, "Class 2 representative, prepare to go on stage." At this time, the whole group was ready. Everyone's eyes were filled with determination and determination. Liu Qi stood at the back holding a water relay and continuously cheered, "Come on, come on." Zhu Wu went first and raised her hand and said, "Here we are." A girl sitting next to Su'er in the stands excitedly stood up. The commanding voice rang out, "Next, it will be first-year Class 1, competing against first-year Class 2. After the whistle sounded, the handsome god carried his sword on his shoulder and walked over proudly. The commanding voice continued to ring out, "Now, please invite the contestants to the stage." Zhang Zio's group immediately stepped up. In the competition stage, everyone was still watching attentively. A man with a rather tense face looked down. He propped his hand up and looked towards Zhang Zio's group and said, "This kid is the only healing system in your first-year class." He continued, What is his star chart? A professor beside him immediately raised his hand and replied, I heard that the star chart is in the shape of a spoon and can form a magic staff. This child has a healing elemental skill and came here to study. Just like you. This is the first time we have seen him. Hearing this, he immediately turned to look at the professor and asked, Does he have a healing elemental skill? What is his surname? She replied, Zhang Ziobai. He took his mother's surname and is Han Jiangsu's younger brother. After hearing this, his eyes widened, and he was immediately surprised and exclaimed, The Han family's pioneering army. Then he lowered his head and curled his lips in admiration. As expected, a tiger father begets a tiger son. The Han family has another good seed. A person who awakens the healing element is 1 in 100. His potential is definitely not bad. The professor beside him immediately glanced over and said softly, This child and Han Jiangsu are two extremes. Then she bent down to adjust her glasses and continued, Han Jiangsu has 30 rare stars. Zhang Ziopi is the same. He only has 9 stars, a rare thing in the whole school. Hearing that, he couldn't hide his surprise and thought to himself, 9 stars?